I'm bringing up certain things.
I'm saying...
Can we practice letting each other finish, sir?
Okay, Josh, you just interrupted me, so I think that's really ridiculous for you to act like I'm the only one doing that. But sure, let me practice.
It happens
Go for it.
You're right.
Go.
All I'm saying is that in this moment, I feel...
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black But 91. Sorry guys, I honestly I was asleep. I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all know when I get into that coma and sometimes I fall asleep, that's it, it's finisher. And I was asleep. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was in a dream world. Let me just say this now. I don't even remember the dream, but it felt good. Okay. But since we're talking about dreams, look, I have to honestly tell you the truth. Some of the dreams of some of these couples, it seems like they're going to wash as well. Let me be honest with you, being real with you, because can I be real? I want to be very honest with you, okay? What the heck is happening with Josh and Jalen? I'm sorry, I have to tell you the truth. I feel some type of way, okay? Now, my thing is this, okay? Now, Josh has every right to want to talk to his ex. It's a lie. I'm sorry, you don't have every right, okay? Now, when you say that when you say you stop talking to your ex and then you continue talking to your ex and you haven't canceled the communication with your ex, and I have to explain why you're not talking to your ex, I'm going to lie to you. It's downhill from here. It's downhill from here. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's downhill from here. Now, I love the way the experts put it by saying, maybe it could, kind of like being nice about it. Like, Josh, you're speaking to your ex and maybe Jalen, you have to work on your hypervigilance because there's no hypervigilance here. This is not a hypervigilance situation. I'm sorry, this is actually not a hypervigilance situation. And maybe also too, maybe I've got then again, I've got my own attachment issues. Maybe it is some level of a hypervigilance. But let me just say this now. If you tell me you're still talking to your ex after you told me you deleted a message your ex, and then the ex person's gonna tell me and say, well, you signed up for a marriage, not for a relationship. I'm sorry, bro. Like, you signed up for a marriage, exactly. So why are you still talking to your ex? Why are we still talking to our ex? Okay. And the issue, and this exactly, is the fact that he lied about it, absolutely. And so from my situation, my thing about this situation is, how is it that you? In fact, I know why he did it. Still, right? He didn't want to let go of his community. He didn't want to let go of his support systems. But my thing is that it's manipulative. And now I have to look at you. I have to look at you some way. Can I be honest with you? I would start looking at you some way, because my experience tells me that people who do this kind of stuff are likely to do some other stuff in the future. So if you in the first 6 weeks are already lying about exes, more than likely you're about to lie about something else, because there was no pressure to do any of this stuff. None. There was none. Okay? There was no pressure. And so maybe someone might say, well, this is what marriage is. No, I'm sorry. I think because we don't know each other, we actually don't have the luxury of playing that game. We don't, right? We don't know each other. We don't have the history. We haven't, I haven't spoken to you in a little while. You know what I mean? Now, yes, he did say he panic responded. Okay. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you why I don't care. Because I had to force it out of you, and we found out because you're friends. We didn't find out because you came out and said, I haven't done it yet, hold on a minute. Look, just give me a few days. I need to think about, I just need to just, Okay. So my thing is that you're about to do some more stuff like this. That's my thing. Yeah. So that thing for me there was concerning for me on a major level, and I needed the experts to make him understand how dangerous this act was. So it's not a case of, oh, like you just, you lied, it's not just a case of, oh yeah, you made a mistake. No, this ain't one of the ones there, This can lead to infidelity. So for me personally, I don't rock with these games. I don't rock with these games, especially because I've lived a certain lifestyle. In the past, I've been the guy that the girl would say, he's just a friend. I've been the guy that the girl will say, listen, don't worry about him. You know what I'm saying to you? I've been the guy that has played those kind of games. So I know exactly some of the patterns of behavior and what it looks like. It starts off like this. Right? So for me personally, lying about an ex of you still communicating, so my thing, my biggest again, and I always say this as well about people who do this kind of stuff. You know who you are. I'm gonna be over with you. I find people concerning when you still talk to your ex. If you have no business with your ex, I find you concerning. Can I be real with you? I find you concerning. Yes, I do. I find people who keep their exes and still talk to their exes and tell us how wonderful their ex is and how great the friendship, their ex relationship is, and how much work they've done to get to a position where they can be friends. You lost that right when you started having sex with your ex. Okay, I want to just keep it. I don't want to lie to you. I want to keep it real. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Okay, all right. I look at you as a scary human being when I see people keep their exes going into a new relationship. I'm sorry, right? That is unfortunate. I know they can be a great friend, but the world is huge. There's other people that can be your friend. The only real reason is like, okay, you guys have an actual business together and you can't stop the business. So okay, cool, right? Most people's situation is not that. Most people's situation is not the ex that runs a business with them. Most people's situation isn't the ex that is a mother or the father of your kids. Some of you just like to hold on to people, and there's no need to hold on to them. And you know what really ticks me off is that you will be the first person to complain if you find out your partner also has their ex in their life. You wouldn't like it. But you got that extreme story that is like one in a million. Like, oh, like me and my ex, we've never even looked at each other after like that. We've never even talked like that again. They've never asked me an inappropriate question again. They've never ever tried to flirt with me ever again. It's been so platonic. Oh, is it? Then you can let them go quickly. It's been so platonic, right? Then there's no need to have a conversation. Yeah, you need to let them go. You stop holding on to them. I just say this all the time. It's dumb. Like, do you know what I'm saying to you? It's dumb. And you having full on a relationship with your ex. We follow each other still on social media. The following part wasn't even the one that it wasn't even the problem because again, following like hey, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't follow any of my exes on social media. If I'm honest with you, I don't check their lifestyle. I don't see what they're doing. I don't care. I'm gonna be real with you. Okay, all right. I think the last time I spoke to an ex probably like 3 years ago. Okay, all right. It was brief, swift, and beautiful. And on your way, son. You know what I'm saying to you? Like there is no need for that. So the fact that he lied about it, I was pissed off. I think also though with that situation, okay, well, Josh and Jalen, what I would say also is that I also understood where he was coming from about the burning sand situation, right? I felt like there could have been a bit of more. I felt like there could be a bit more negotiation. I really feel like sometimes the experts are like do or die or like 50 or they're like 100 or nothing. I think I think there could have been some negotiation. Like for instance, the Burning Man situation. I don't understand why the experts didn't say to him to say to Jalen. I see it, Elsid. I don't know why the experts didn't say to Jalen, hey, look, how about you guys do a compromise? Do 3 days, right? Josh, do 3 days in, 3 days out. Okay, all right. 3 days, do 3 days. You both go, and you come back home. Right? She can't do the full 7 because she doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Or even a compromise could be let's go once, see how it is, and if you don't like it after that, you've at least tried to do this. Okay, all right. And the reason why I say that is because I remember something very interesting when I was very, very young. One of my early relationships. I mean, the girl at the time was saying, that she loved swimming, right? And I was like, I'm not going swimming. Like I ain't going swimming. Like I can't lie to you. You know, I ain't going swimming, right? So now she had to find someone to go swimming with, which she wanted to enjoy going with that with me. Okay, all right. So my thing is, sometimes you're not going to like everything you're not going to like everything your partner does. It's not about liking everything your partner does. Do you think us as men sometimes like going to shopping with you? No, we don't. We don't like going shopping with you sometimes. You drag us here, you drag us there. But we understand that sometimes it's also nice to go with your partner and support. You know what I mean? Right? Like sometimes it's nice to go. So I don't think you have to necessarily do everything, but sometimes just try it. You know what I mean? If you don't like it in the end, then don't go. Do you know what I mean? But try it and see what happens. You know, and see what happens. If you don't want to go after that, then call in it. You get me? But it's nice to just try it. You know, you know. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying. You know, I think personally people should try. I definitely think people should try. That's what I think to myself. You know, there's things that I don't like, but I'll try it. You know what I mean? In that particular essence, I'll try it and see how it goes. Like if it don't work for me, it don't work for me. And again, because I understand that relationships are not always about things that I like. If it was, it wouldn't last very long. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me personally, it's more of a case like I think it could have been a bit more of a compromise. I think it could have been a bit more of a compromise. I think it could be a case of like, okay, like look, I love burning sands. It's something I really, really love. You know, it's something I really, really love. I just want to be able to explore that with you. At least just try it once. Look, maybe you can't do 7 days. Okay, you can do 3 days. You know what I mean? I thought the skydiving was because she mentioned skydiving, though. I thought skydiving was because she mentioned skydiving. She mentioned doing things out of her own comfort zone. You know, I think that's why. So, in that essence, anyway. But because it was so important to him, like this was different. So, like skydiving, everything, those things are like nice things. But this was like something that he said that is, and again, this is also his issue as well. You know, this was also his issue as well in this essence, right? Which was that he wasn't honest at the very beginning, and that's the problem. He wasn't honest at the very beginning about how important Burning Man was to him because he was people pleasing and kind of like pretending to shop as a real self, right? And a lot of people do this in relationships. They pretend to shop as who they really are, but they're not really being true. You know, not being true for who they really are. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, again, look, because of how important it was to him, I felt like, you know what, just go and try it. Or if you feel like there were genuine concerns, because it's not, her concern wasn't that there was drugs or anything like that. Her concern, there was no concern that. Her thing was she didn't want it. She hates it, basically. I mean, like, she actually told the truth about what she really felt about it. Like, when they sat on the couch and they pushed and pushed and pushed, you know, that's eventually what actually happened. It was like, no, it's like, no, I hate it. It's like, she didn't say I hate, but she's like, you know, she basically like, she don't like it. You know, she hate it. Hate probably the strongest word. It was too strong. And that was a real truth about how she felt about it. So I also understood that. I just said to myself, because you guys are new, you know, try it for 3 days or whatever. Even if you can't make the 3 days, you've compromised. If you can't do the 3 days, you come after the one and say, hey, babe, look, I know I said 3, but I've got 1 in me. Okay, I've got 1 and 2 in me. My social battery is gone. I'm tired. I won't lie. You know what I mean? So in that particular place, you know, and then move on. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Okay. And that's just one of my things again, because I'm just saying this as a you know, this is something that you can grow to try and do as much as you can, but it doesn't mean you have to do everything. It just means sometimes just try a little bit of something, and sometimes the trying actually does a lot more. Do you get what I'm saying to you? That's all. And so that's all I would say. You know, I know a lot of people may not want to do that way. I get it. I think when he eventually explained why he wants to go to those things, he hasn't got community. And then the argument about community was so dumb. I'm so sorry. It's so dumb. It was so dumb. But I get why they had it, but it was so dumb. I can't lie to you. And I understood where both of them were coming from. You know what I mean? Like, I was confused as to why this was an argument. I was like, you're both saying like you all have different ways of having community. Like he can't understand because he's never had community. Like I was like, wait, did you guys discuss the background? Like he does not understand that community because he never had one, and he doesn't see his own community, in that space, right? So I get it, that I get that, for him, community looks different because again, you don't have a mother, you don't have a father, and when you don't have a mother and a father, your community looks different. It looks very different to a lot of people. And I was like, I don't get where the argument's coming from. I was like, and then for me, I was like looking at Jalen, and then she crying, and I'm like, babe, what are you crying for? We're just all explaining our different ideas of community. Like you have a different version of community, but I understood that she wanted to be seen and heard in terms of community because I get it, because she was explaining it and he didn't fully understand it. And all it was that two people have a different understanding of what real community looks like. Because again, she explained it like community could be, he even said, I don't even look at community as being my friends, which means you already have two different ideas of community. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They have two different ideas of community. You feel what I'm saying to you? And so I was just like, oh man, like, yo, like, y'all just have two different ideas, man. Like, this doesn't have to be an argument. It's a case of trying to understand each other as well. And I think I really I really understand where Josh was coming from because he wants to. Someone said, how can his friends not be his friends? Very easy. Again, he doesn't see, people that have gone through an environment where they have no mom and no dad do not attach themselves easily to people. So the once a year makes absolute, this is why I said about people need to actually, understand, because it's hard. And that's why this is why I wanted experts to really understand. Like, I really want the experts to really, they don't dig in deep for me, and it's pissing me off. It's like they do the surface stuff, right? This should have been explained in the conversation when they had Pastor Kyle and Dr. Pia to explain this to the couples, because it's hard for people to understand because they don't have that concept. Most people have at least a mom or a dad, some level of communication, right? And when they have that, they have some level of community because they develop friends and stuff like that. But when you have none of those things and you've always been on your own, right? And you've and your mom situation, your mom, you can't trust your mom, right? Which means betrayal is started from early. You actually can't trust anybody, So what ends up happening is when you're developing your friendships with people, you do develop friendships, but the reality is you always keep them at some level of arm's length. Like, I can never let you too close because just in case you betray me. So I can't see you as community because I can't rely on you just in case if I do rely on you, you betray me. So that is why he's not going to see it like that. So when he's saying about, that's why I said, why are you crying for, Jalen? And I felt like, and I'm gonna be honest, this is my personal opinion, it's my own personal opinion. I now felt like if I was him, I'd feel unsafe because now I'm explaining that you're just going to start crying. And whenever someone starts crying, it oftentimes manipulates the conversation because now we have to bend towards your crying, and that now anything I say now is looking like I'm the victim, I'm the villain, and it becomes very difficult. And that's the only reason why I was saying, like, the crying. Well, what are you crying for? You know what I mean? Like, go on, like, just discuss the situation. No one cussed you out or anything like that. But I get it. I get that, and and I understand that can be very difficult. So it's like, come on, man, like, allow it, man. But anyway, but yeah, like I said, I think my thing is still, I'm still on the thing with Josh. I still think that he's manipulative. So it is this. I'm still stuck on Josh being manipulative personally. And if I'm honest with you, my personal thing was I would have grabbed her silently and told her, "Oh girl, let me tell you this now. Whatever your instincts are telling you to run the frick out of there, babe. Yeah, this is not the time to play around with a brother who tells you that they stopped their ex and they're still talking to their ex. Get rid of them. That's my thing. Get rid of them. I don't play with people who do that. You know what I'm saying to you? Get rid of them." And then, okay, so one last one, and then I'll sit on. So the other couple that I want to quickly just discuss. Okay, the other couple that I want to quickly discuss. Megan and Thingy. I like what is happening with them. You know, I can't lie to you.
Slowly.
That's almost 4. That's pretty good.
Okay, so Megan and Derek have done a whole 360, and it seems like the relationship is on an upmend and it's on a positive trend. Can I just be honest with you? I don't trust Megan. I'm gonna tell you why I don't trust Megan. Someone said her eggs were not frozen then. I hear it. I hear it. Let me tell you why I don't trust Megan. And when I say I don't trust, what I really mean by that is the difficulty I have with Megan at the moment, is that, you know, did you notice something? Like, in order for this to work, Derek's gonna take a lot of punishment first. And that's my biggest issue. Like, the same thing I feel about Pat and Rhonda. Like, I'll quickly talk about Rhonda really quickly before, because we have to nuke that one. But there's going to be the reason why I said that is because even in the scene I just showed you, I didn't show you that just before. Just as he was in the water, right? She was like taking a few jabs, like, "Oh, you only done 2 minutes. You can do 2.5." But she was saying it in a way that was kind of like, not even teasing, but almost like kind of like prodding at him, yeah. And when he started replying, she was getting pissed off. When he was giving her a little bit of the jab back, she started getting pissed off. And I said, I said, when someone does this, they're scary people. When they can give you jabs, but you can't give them jabs back, they're scary people, because what they're setting you up for is, I can do things that are critical towards you, but you can't do it towards me. That's number one. Number two, every time they ask her, right, how she feels about Derek, I'm confused why she always goes, same. Derek will explain how they asked Derek at the parents' table, how do you feel about her? He explained what it was. You know, it was, she's smart, she this, with the parents in episode 7, by the way. It's not episode 8, it's episode 7, right? And then, you know, she couldn't necessarily reply back in terms of what she necessarily liked. She was like, same. And then it came to the friends' table dinner, and they asked him, what do he said what he said he liked about her, and then we heard, same. And I said, so sis, at what point will you tell people what you feel about this man? But behind closed doors, we're saying, I love you. I don't get gassed about that. If I'm honest with you, I don't get gassed about it. I feel like I'm being set up. Okay? I feel like I'm being set up. And so I feel some way. Again, I'm not saying she's the most evil person. It's just, I just feel odd with her behaviors. And I know and the funny thing is, I know what her behaviors are from. I know the fearful avoidant perspective, but even with that, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it. You know, I don't like it. I really don't. I really, you know, I don't like those things. And yes, she is a female Will, which is why I don't like those things, because I don't like Will. I don't like Will's behavior. So, you know, I don't like the way they move. Now, what I will say again is, I wish the experts would dig a little bit deeper with both of these people, Will and her, because there are deeper things that their partner really needs to understand. Like, some of these behaviors need to be explained, because it's you're leaving them in a space of trying to figure it out. And I'm like, what's the point of being on a show with experts when experts are not experting? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that. Now, quickly, can I just talk about Pat and Rhonda? Because Rhonda is jarring my life off. My God. Like, she is jarring, bro. Okay? And I want to say the honest truth. Thank God for Pat almost pulled up into that 24/7 mark and said, listen, if you don't get your act together, stop scolding me. Okay? Shout out to Pat. Okay? Pat said, I'm going to pull up in this place,
So, Pat.
and I'm going to put some things in this place.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I'm trying to process information.
I know,
quickly.
so I'm struggling on what you hear and what you don't hear.
I try to hear everything, but I can't. Literally, I can't.
The brother is driving full on eyes on the road, and you're trying to have the deepest conversation with him whilst his face is like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, brother is trying to drive and concentrate, get you to the destination. You trying to tell him the most deepest conversation, and then you want him to not even just pay attention. You want him to give you the full on concentration of ears whilst he's driving. Come on, sis. Come on, sis. Then we got to the graveyard, and that just pissed me off even more, because we know you got pissed off at the fact that he had no words to say about your dad. He don't know your dad. He don't know your dad. Shit, yeah, you can have a, I mean, give me a minute. Your tone. What do you mean? Why are you taking the tone towards me because of the fact that I didn't have no words for your dad? Your dad is, unfortunately, your dad is passed. I don't know him. I never had time to know him. So how? What words am I supposed to have? Right? So, but again, we knew this person, and she is literally dragging him left to right. You know what I'm saying to you? She literally dragging him left and right. And I'm so glad he told her, stop scolding me. Like, a man's not a kid, rude boy. Do you get me? So, like, at the end of the day, you're peeing me off, like, basically, you know? And this is what I'm saying, that she, until somebody tells her, like, properly, that your behavior is a nuisance and it's annoying. And it's actually hurtful a lot of times. Like, it's like, anytime she talks about, have you noticed that we don't know what Pat's saying? I haven't heard Pat talk about his life that much either at the moment. That every time she's talking about her life. And I get it. You know me, I'm one of those people that tell you that people that, you know, when you tell your story about your life and they tell you about their life, they can be irritating. But this isn't one of these. Every time she tells something about her life, look, the music situation. She said, "Oh, this music means like this to me," and he said, "Oh yeah, you know, for me, it sounds different. I hear this music, but I see it differently." That became a problem. Now she's walking away. Right? You know, she starts talking about her dad, and he's like, "You didn't remember nothing, bro. You just started talking about your dad, bro." Okay, you just started talking about your dad, bro. I don't remember everything you just said. Like, do you know what I'm saying to you? This is what your son was trying to tell you, that you don't recognize that you don't have any other way but from your way. And so at some point, someone's got to give. That's what I'm going to say. At some point, something's got to give. But we'll talk about her with the rest of the gang very soon. I want to talk about Will. And I'm going to talk about Will because I'm going to say this about Will real quickly as well, right? I want to be fair. I need the experts to start not picking up, but I need the experts to start actually explaining some stuff. Because I actually can see both sides again, but I actually really understand where Brittney's coming from. And I can see that they're backing Brittney. My problem is she has nothing to work with here. And she has nothing to work with here because Will can't explain why he is the way he is. And the experts are not asking him no questions about why he is the way he is. Okay, all we hear is that he's emotionless, and yeah, he uses other ways. But what's his background?
What do you think that communicates?
It doesn't give her any security. It makes her uneasy.
Why? Why do you think that would make someone?
Because she thinks that I'm not sure.
Are you?
I can reiterate what I said just now.
I want to be honest with you. That man might be gay. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna hide you. He might be, or he just doesn't like her. I mean, something's off, right? I get it. Some people are a bit more emotionless, yes. But I keep telling y'all that everything that he does seems very scripted. Like, he's very intellectualizing of everything. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck and keep it real. I'm just gonna be honest with you and keep it a buck and keep it real. Okay, but the two of them are problematic because here's my thing: Brittney's a bulldozer, and this is why I want the experts to really get onto both of them. Brittney's a bulldozer. If I listen, don't get twisted. He's a passive aggressive communicator too. Because why are you withholding information, right? If I say, is there something wrong with me? And you keep saying, no, nothing's wrong with me, nothing's wrong with me, nothing wrong with me. And then you say it later on, of course there's something wrong with me. Now, here's my thing too. Don't be asking me 3 or 4 times. And when I tell you, get vexed about what I told you. Don't do that. You've asked me 3 or 4 times, Brittney. And now I'm telling you on the 4th time, you know what? You are a little bit annoying. Now you vex. Why are you vexed for? You asked me 3 or 4 times to get an answer. You should be relieved. Oh, because you don't want the truth either. So now you're proving my hypothesis right, even though his hypothesis is wrong. You're proving my hypothesis right that you can't take when I say something that you don't like. Now you're proving it to be right, even though he's wrong, because he can, but he's not telling her at the very beginning. Okay? Right? You saying you want him to trust you, but I keep telling people that when people say they want people to trust them, but when they ask questions, fill the silent spaces up and don't know how to shut up. I keep telling y'all to shut up. Pat I mean, Rhonda does the exact same thing. Y'all don't know how to shut up? Both men and women, you don't know how to shut up? Listen, shutting up is one of the most quintessential skills in learning how to provide a safe space for people to come into. Shut it. Ask your question and then shut your beak. And let silence do what silence does best. Give them room to be able to explain. But every time we see Brittney ask a question, there's a follow-up question. And never is his answer ever satisfiable. After the wrestling situation, right? She asked a question, and then she asked a question. His answer, she did not like it. I hear it. And then it went into a situation where she said, "You don't feel how I feel." Oh, damn. Okay. So now it's like, you know what I mean? So every time it seems very pressurized. But again, I also understand where she's coming from because Will gives nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. He gives nothing. He gives something and then he takes it away. Okay? He gives something and then he takes it away. And that is problematic on my end as well, right? Giving and taking away is annoying. Are you confident about our wedding day? And you're saying yes, but you know things can change. We don't need to add the things can change. You're confident about it. The things can change and stay inside of your head. You know what I mean? So these are two people that I find a little bit jarring and annoying, but we don't know enough of the background of Will to really get an understanding of where this guy's coming from. And I wish we had a bit more information because it really would give us a better insight to how things are really popping between the two of them. And it would be so much easier and nicer to understand it. And we would have such a better understanding of where he's coming from. And I didn't like the fact that the girls, and this again, I didn't like it. The girls getting onto Will on the table pissed me right off. And because why I say that is because it doesn't help people when you kind of pile on them because they're already not opening up. And now you've got 3 women jumping on him. I wish one of the guys or even one of the girls would have said, listen, hey, look, wait, hold a minute. Let's try to understand where you're coming from. Because now it just looks like my business is out there and now everyone's on my neck. They don't fully understand me. If they don't understand me, if you don't understand me and now they don't understand me, it's like no one really understands him. Who's going to understand him? You know, I wish Chad would have spoken up and said, hey, but hold on a minute. But, you know, Will does talk and da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying, Chu? And I wish that would have been a case as well. Do you know what I mean? Just to kind of make it a bit more balanced in that space. You know, it's like, you know, that would have been a bit of a nicer thing. But again, like I said, I got it. And I understood they were trying to help. So it's not that situation. Do you feel me? Yeah, and as far as that, and my last point, Chad and Belinda. I won't talk too long about Chad and Belinda because I actually kind of like Chad and Belinda so far. Of course, next week's previews seem to be bad, but I think the last 3 episodes have been very, very good. I've watched them, and they've seemed to be more connected, and they seem to be more together. I love the fact that they, you know, sometimes we see them cooking, we see them, you know, just kind of chilling and vibes in, you know. It feels like they're getting closer, you know, and so I like Chad and Belinda. Again, like I said, obviously next week's previews are not too good, but based on the last 3 episodes that I watched, you know, I appreciated their connection. I appreciated what vibes they were bringing as well, and so yeah, man, it's good. I don't have too much to say about them. Do you get what I'm saying? On these last 3 episodes, I don't have too much in this space. You know, he adores her. He cares about her. He loves that woman. He has kind words to say. You know, so she's changing her name for him as well. Bro, even though she said it was tedious and he respected that, I said, no, like, they seem to be in a good space right now. You know what I mean? Of course, if I don't think about next week's episodes, cool, innit? But yeah. Anyway, let me get some people them on to discuss the issue as well. Okay. As well. And we're going to discuss it up and break it down. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. I know Precious will be joining us soon. It's a bit late. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know how we're gonna do that, but I'll have to somehow sort that out. Okay. Cool. Let's have a look. Internet playing up, baby. Okay. El Cid, what's good?
Hey, whew. You know, we not going to see eye to eye on everybody, but that's okay. That's what
Oh, that's
makes
good.
this spirited conversation. Okay.
Absolutely.
Where would you like to start?
I mean, let's start with obviously the Josh Jalen situation is obviously the most prevalent one. I think over the last 3 episodes, the difference and the change has been astronomical. So let's start there.
If I was Jalen, I would go home. I'm sorry. Or maybe she don't want to leave, you know, with her mama. But without her mama. But Josh showed me totally who he is. It's his way or the highway. His way or he gonna flip out. And that's my problem. She's asking you to do something. It may not be simple. It may not be something you can do. Maybe he cannot write on the fly. Maybe he cannot put his emotions, you know, writing it down like that. But it's the way, because I am sure if Jalen flipped like that about skydiving, that he would not have the same understanding response. If she just said, this is silly, I am not doing it, and went back to the car, what would Josh do? How would Josh behave? He would be having a fit. He would be having the, don't you roll your eyes on me. Don't you walk away from me. The whole thing is, this need not continue. I'm sorry. Based on what we see in, this need not continue. Because if you can't, and she gave him an out, she's like, you could just write that what you actually like about me, what we have experienced. You know me now. And he's like, it took me 4 days to write. Okay. Either it took you 4 days or you don't know how to use ChatGPT. Either you're lying to me or you don't know how to use AI, you know, and get some kind of vows put together. So, sir, you could just rewrite the same vows and write something specific about her. You don't have to rewrite the whole thing. You know, he was just big baby to me. And I was just like, see, this is where my dark arts, I would be having him in a tailspin. I would certainly buy tickets for Burning Man and buy it for one. And let him think I'm going with him and I go someplace else. Not happening. Josh's reaction, it's okay to say no. My problem is he doesn't want her to say no. He wants to be able to say no to her, but she cannot say no to him. And that is a huge imbalance. Now, the whole ex thing, I agree with you. The experts are trash for that. If you are in communication with your ex and you tell me no, how do you think Josh will react if she was lying to him? He would flip out again. So for me, the whole ex thing, it's not just, it's the ex, it's the lying, the concealing, and now all of a sudden I have to pressure you in order to get the truth. Yeah, buddy, we got to be done. The expert should have pressed him for that. Why did you feel the need to lie? Why under pressure will you lie? So, okay, anytime you're under pressure, you're going to lie to me. That's how I'm going to think. You're going to lie to me. Oh, do you feel pressure? Because here come a lie. I'm sorry. Josh just he fell out. He fell out real bad for me. I was expecting it. I was expecting a crash out, but mainly from Jalen. But I was like, this marriage could be over. And don't tell her not to be hyper vigilant, because we know what may happen. If Josh is constantly talking to his ex, what's going to happen when he stopped communicating? When he stopped saying, hey, how you doing? She going to say, what's the matter? The ex going to reach out. What's the matter? What's going on? You're not talking like we used to. And then the ex going to form an opinion of the wife. And then it's going to be a whole tizzy. Now, is the ex his business partner? We got to ask. That's my thing. Who is this ex? Is she his business partner? Because we don't even know who the business partner is. Why do you feel a need to tether to one ex and not the other exes? What's so special about this ex? I have so many questions for Josh, but I will leave it there. I'm sorry. Josh had me in a tizzy. And sorry, if your community involves porta potties, it's not for me. I'm not bougie at all, but portal potties are not a part of my community. I'm sorry. Not happy. We could go to concerts any and everywhere. We could go to outside concerts, but it's got to be the facilities that are on a whole wagon that looks like an actual bathroom, not a daggone portal potty. And I got to use it for 7 to 10 business days. Not happening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that, and I think obviously with the X situation, I am bemused by that. I'm bemused, especially from his side, but I'm also bemused about the fact that the experts didn't make it a bigger issue. I felt like they were trying to do damage limitation so that they wouldn't get divorced, but I think it's actually this should have been really emphasized, and the reason why I say that is because you already had last season a couple cheat on the show, right? So we don't tolerate cheating, we said. We took a very hard and stern stance. We had Pastor Kyle telling us, this is atrocious. We had Dr. Peter telling us it's atrocious. We had all the experts telling us how bad this was. Dr. Pepper, how cheating is so bad. And yet we're sitting here and someone is actually emotionally, almost at a point of emotionally cheating, because you're still connected to somebody who you previously had a relationship with, and you've said to us that you're going to cut the connection. Because I remember at the beginning, there's no issue because you haven't said anything. We didn't know. Cool. You're now asked a question and you volunteer the information. And, at that point in time, you could have easily just said, hey, look, I haven't even sorted out that issue with the ex, so I need time to sort it out. At least then that will give you some time, figure out what you're going to do next. You said the reason you panicked because you thought you were going to be abandoned, right? Maybe you thought the person would leave you if you had his ex situation. And the reality of situations, whenever I see people who keep exes around, I always feel like they're backing up just in case. It's like, if anything happens, I have an emotional support to go to. And actually, this is why it becomes emotional cheating, is because whenever something happens in your relationship, they have someone to go back to. They might not discuss every single thing that happens in your relationship, but they have someone now where, because in relationship, what ends up happening is when you argue with your partner, right, you feel sometimes a little bit alone in that moment, and you've got to go and process the information by yourself. Okay. And then what people don't want to do is process the information by themselves, because then they start getting scared, start getting fearful, they start getting, oh my God, what's going to happen? And so what ends up happening is you run back to an ex who can then give you that kind of emotional security. It's like, it's not necessarily you're going to actually go with them, but it's almost as if like, you know what, just in case anything does happen, I always have my fallback plan. Do you get me? And so when people do that, and both men and women are guilty of doing these kind of behaviors, but whenever I start seeing that, I start asking myself, well, this is a very dangerous thing to do, because it actually means that you're not fully actually involved in this relationship. Your fullness is not in it, because there's still part of you outside of it. And so that's why I would say this should have been really, they should have gone harder on this situation and made him absolutely clear that any more incidents like this, I would be advising her before the marriage, she should go. And I honestly would. I would advise somebody, because it's trial. Because this is a marriage, yes, but it's also something that you don't know. You haven't had the history of other people to be like, okay, well, you can work through it. Nah, you don't know who the hell this person is, and they're already lying to you. You know what I mean? So yeah, things like that, I'm like, I can't.
Even more, if this ex is a part of a very heavy emotional moment for you, that also is sometimes why people cling to an ex. If unfortunately, if a parent has passed away, or some pivotal moment, was that ex around when Josh found out who his dad was? Was the ex there? It was the ex's girlfriend at the time that he went to meet his dad. There's a whole bunch of emotional intertwining sometimes why people hold on to a particular ex than another ex. That to me is when I do see people who are in that space, is because if it's one ex and not all the exes that they keep in touch with, or all the exes have access to them, I think it's because they were there at some pivotal point in their life. And as you said, it was the comfort. It was the comfortable landing. It was, the emotional support ex at the time.
Yeah, this is the community aspect. I'm guessing that he probably is tapping into again once more. And whilst I can understand that, again, there's no need to also lie about this. Again, it should have been a conversation again for the situation. And that's why I said I wish they never downplayed the thing by saying about her hypervigilance, because in this instance, her hypervigilance is not the issue. Like hypervigilance would be him texting somebody and her being like, so who you texting? That would be her hypervigilance playing a role, because then she's like, she has no clue who this person is, and she just assumes that maybe something's going on immediately because it could be texting another woman, right? Then that would be hypervigilance. But in this instance, we know who the person is, we know who that person is to him, and we know he lied. At that point, that's not hypervigilance. And that's why I said it was, for me, it's actually gaslighting of her. It's gaslighting her in the sense of saying, you don't need to be worried about this. No, you need to be worried about this. You know what I mean? You need to be worried about this because your person's actually lied about it. So it's not hypervigilance at this point. And I was disappointed in the experts for that because again, this is a very serious situation. Again, I always want to give the experts grace because it is TV, and maybe there's some things that are TV shown, edited in a way to create more drama than real life. But as for me watching it, unfortunately, this is unfortunate because I'm watching it from an outside perspective. I don't have the inside information, right? So I'm gonna give some grace, but I'm also gonna say the honest truth. If that is a natural cut of what you guys said as an edit, as a natural thing, sorry, as what you guys said, this is gaslighting of the lady. It is, and it should not be allowed.
It is, and here's the problem. Here's the major problem for me. You're telling her she needs to back off. You're telling her, hey, precious, you're telling her she needs to back off and she needs to not be hypervigilant. Then for someone, they may pull all the way back, and then Josh is getting away with all kinds of stuff. And the problem is not her hypervigilance. The problem is his lying and then his lack of accountability for his lie. That's the problem. She needs to stay on his neck. She needs to keep on being hypervigilant because he will use these ploys. And guess what? If she's not hypervigilant, what's going to happen? She's going to let it go. And he's going to still keep on talking to this ex. And then if she brings it up, he's going to be like, stop being hypervigilant. Isn't that what the experts told you? To leave it alone. See, the experts didn't leave her with an out to be able to still be uncomfortable with this. And that's what I didn't like about this. I was like, y'all need to leave my home. I acted like I was them. Y'all need to leave my home right now because y'all are not helping me be able to bring this up to him at another time.
And also with that, because, and this is something that I think like also the experts should have tapped in a bit more in this moment, is that, and this is why these two have probably got as far as they have got right so far without no real problems until now. They both don't tell the truth. So even in this moment, when they're talking about Jalen's situation, Jalen is still half telling the truth about how she feels. So it's like when they told her let's have a vigilance, and moved on, it's like she hasn't moved on. Like she hasn't even got out the fullness of how she felt about the situation. She hasn't even really fully extended how this has impacted her, knowing that, again, as we keep saying, that yes, her father cheated, but also she has gone through cheating herself. So this is like a double whammy. So for her to come out and be like, I do trust him. I wanted to say the B word. B, you know you don't trust him. Okay. Like you don't trust that man. Like stop telling me you trust him when you know you're looking at that man and going, I've already started calculating how to get out of here. Like let's be honest, that's what you really thought. And so it's like I was looking at going in the sense of the experts didn't help her to also give her the space to really unpack that and really be able to release how she really felt about the situation with Jalen. Situation with Josh. And again, I felt like the experts missed an opportunity here, again, to open them up to actually having real conversations. Because as much as they do talk and they do have some good conversations, I have to be fair, they do have some good conversations. They work through some stuff. I do believe that sometimes they're holding back some of their actual feelings about situations. And because of that, it's going to spill over to somewhere else. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was what we're talking about. Yes, Precious. Talking about Josh and Jalen. And we're talking about specifically the lying about the ex situation. Let's get your thoughts. Ooh, my bad.
Yeah, I think it just shows his lack of boundaries. And I think as a result, he reacts to like people who give unnecessary information unprovoked, especially if it's a lie, is showing that kind of lack of boundaries, wanting to people please. And I think for him, it was very much like, how do I explain it? I agree with what you said before about him being manipulative, because even if you go back to the Burning Man situation, I want to go back to that a little bit. I don't understand why that argument spanned over 2 episodes. She doesn't want to go to spend a week in the desert, slumming it on the ground, listening to EDM, and then burning a effigy or whatever they call it. That is kind of cultish but cool. She doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to do that. Why are we going around in circles about this? And I think that applies to the situation about the ex. It's like if it doesn't happen in the way that he envisions it, the whole thing kind of has to go out the window. It's kind of almost like his entire approach to this a little bit is if it doesn't happen, if it isn't the way I envision it, that I have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because you don't you if for example there is a legitimate reason why you feel the need to continue following and speaking with your ex, then explain that reason and then stand behind your decision and what the fallout let the fallout be what it's going to be. But instead, you appease the situation, and now what's happened is because you've lied about something you didn't have to lie about, you've caused this other person now to question, okay, well, what else are you lying about then? Because it wasn't like I directly said to you, hey, have you unfollowed her yet? You supplied that information. So I think he's either in business with the ex, or there's an element of he has connected safety and community to the ex. And maybe that ex is somebody he goes to Burning Man with. Maybe he's hoping that if Jalen goes to Burning Man, she can meet the whole team, she can be comfortable with him following the ex and all that. I don't know. But it's just, if this person is really important to you, then say why. And if you can't say why, then there's a conversation to be had there. And I think the experts did a disservice to Jalen because she got railroaded in that conversation. She really got railroaded in that conversation. And I was just sitting there thinking, what are we doing? Josh is acting crazy right now. He's acting crazy. And I think Jalen, I don't know if it's because she's on TV and she's concerned about how it's gonna look like, but if it was me, I would have been like, what are we doing? Like it's almost like a mother and a child dynamic happening a little bit. So I don't know. I think it's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with Josh, and um, I don't know how they're going to maneuver around it because he's very much is quite manipulative in how he twists and turns the situation. Even when he tried to compare the Burning Man festival to going to spin class, and it's like that's a typical people pleaser thing because he's like, well, I went to your spin class, why can't you come to Burning Man? Yeah, but no, but the reality is, if you didn't want to go, you could have just said you didn't want to go. It's not a tit for tat. Just because you do something for people doesn't mean they have to then do it for you. That's just the reality of the world. So if you go into that spin class pissed you off and then she's not going to Burning Man, that pisses you off. You got to take the L, my G. Like what are we doing here? What are we actually doing? He's a very I don't know. He's an interesting man. So that's what I got to say. I very much so this whole situation about the ex thing. It's just spooky. If it was me, I would just let it be and just say, cool, decision day. If you're still following the ex, it's gonna be a no from me. Because there's no point arguing if the person isn't gonna make their decision for themselves. There's no point going back and forth about it. You just let it be, and then you decide whether you want to say that person later on.
You know what's interesting for me too with Josh? It's the the times he chooses to be cocky and the words he uses when he does it. Because while, a friend of mine was thinking, oh, it was so cutesy when they were riding the bike and she was, struggling a little bit to go uphill. She's like, this is a little bit different. When he used her words, I would say against her. Some people would say, oh my gosh, she said, oh my gosh, you're listening. And I'm like, Jalen, you're not listening. He's going to use and memorize what you say and use that against you. He's filing it away. He may not have his own words to write down for vows, but he will remember your words and use it to you to get you to, again, cycle uphill. He couldn't be like, okay, let's keep on cycling, honey. There's an overlook here. I know I know it's pressuring you. It's basically, we need to go where I want us to go. I was clocking that, paying attention to that, because I'm like, why did you have to use her spin class words to her? Some people find it enduring, but maybe I'm overthinking.
I mean, I can imagine him being passive aggressive. He comes off as somebody that is passive aggressive, that if he feels like you've hurt him in some way, or you've disrespected him in some way, or you've called something, I can imagine him being quite passive aggressive about it. So I think, I don't know, I feel like the way he's behaving, I would have been given it the real side eye, because from when I've said to you, I don't want to go to Running Man, and you're like, yeah, but why don't you try it just once? Excuse me? No is no. What are we doing here? So yeah, I think he can be a bit passive aggressive.
Okay, Burning Man is 7 to 10 days. How about you try a spa day for 7 to 10 days? How about we even it up?
Yeah.
But
Or spin class.
so this is what I'm going to disagree with you guys. I'm going to disagree with you. I think if she suggested 7 to 10 days in a spa, or something that she wanted to do, spin class for 7 days, he'd have done it. And I think that's the point. Like, I'm gonna say it again. I think he would have done it. I think he's passive aggressive, irrespective, and I think he can be manipulative. But I'm taking that out of it, just in regards to this particular subject in terms of the Burning Man. I honestly think she could have done 3 days and tried it and left it. For it to be that important to somebody, and they love it that much, to just experience it, at least you don't have to even do the whole thing. You could have compromised and done 3 days. You could even have done a day and say, hey, I'm going to do a day and see how it goes. I can't do this whole 7 days because that's not for me. But I think you can be open enough to be able to try something with someone when you see that it's so important to that particular person. And yes, it may be the comparison between a 7-day thing and a 45-minute spin class situation. But if I don't like spin class either, right, and I don't want to go, I don't have to go. You're right. Absolutely. But the reason why we go is because sometimes we do things because actually we understand how important it is to you. And sometimes there are things that we should, I believe there are some times where we should try something. You're brand new. Like this is not something that you've done before with this particular person.
So
what I'm saying to you? Like,
what has he tried that she wanted to do? He didn't do the vows. What has he tried?
Well, the vows actually wasn't the thing that she wanted to do. The vows was actually what both of them were supposed to do for their task. But I'm saying in terms of obviously like the spin class aspect.
No, I also has a point, because when you look at the history of them, every single time it's him pushing her out of her boundaries. Whether it's diving from the yacht, skydiving. This girl went skydiving. And what are we talking about? She went skydiving. My thing is, cool. She did what do you mean what she wanted?
She asked for a partner that would push her past her. Let's not pretend that's not the truth that she asked for that. She asked for somebody who would push her past those things. So you've asked for that and you've got that.
Yeah, no. Cool, that's great. However, if you then ask for someone who pushes you past the boundaries, that's fine. That does not mean that you cannot then hold boundaries on certain things. My thing is that she could have come to a compromise. But I also think, looking at how Josh behaves, I feel like whatever compromise she would have come with, he would have been unhappy with. If she had gone for 3 days, he would have been upset. Oh, you only went for 3 days. You didn't even try it for full. Like, it's clearly not important to you. No matter what compromise she would have come with, he would have been upset. You also have to remember that this is it's a big thing. Not only is it physically demanding, it's psychologically demanding. It's also really expensive. To go to Burning Man, it's minimum $1,000. minimum. So I just think that yes, it's important to do. It's important to find things that you can do together. You can compromise. I understand it. But up until this point, he hasn't had to compromise on anything apart from a spin class. So I think Jalen I think actually she probably in another scenario maybe would have gone. She maybe would have come up with a compromise, but I think she got to a point where she's like, I'm doing all of these things, and you've come to one spin class, and now you're trying to throw that back in my face so I can come to Burning Man. That's exactly what's happening. So I think she's gotten to that point where she's just fed up. That's not to say that there can't be a compromise. That you can't go to, Burning Man 3 days. And I agree. I think you can find a compromise. But I also feel like up until this point, he hasn't been compromising. He's been pushing her, pushing her, pushing her. He goes to one spin class and now wants her to go to Burning Man. It doesn't seem like a fair trade there. It doesn't even seem equitable.
Well, if we're going to use that, you want somebody to push you outside your boundaries, we better use the same premise for Will and Brittney. And it's not going to work there.
What did the person ask for that?
She said they asked her, would she like to have someone that is more experienced? And she said, yes, that's her preference. Again, it's not going to work there in their dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand
we'd have to hold the same line. We have to hold the same line.
Right.
Then
it's not going to work there. But I'm saying it's
Mm-hmm.
an imbalance. I'm not saying you can't, compromise. But hey, what I'm saying is that you want your partner to do certain things. That's fine. But if this is a 7 to 10 day camping out in the desert wilderness, maybe you start small. Maybe you start with a local music festival that's 1 or 2 days. Maybe you start with, and you gradually get there. You do not start running a whole marathon. Some people, run a 5K, they run a few, they do half marathons, and then they get. Burning Man is a full-fledged marathon in the desert. For someone that is not the person who she is, say, hey, honey, let's take Burning Man off the table. I'd like us to get there. Let's do a festival or two that's local to Texas, and let's see how we do there and work from there. He's not compromising. It is Burning Man or burn it all for him. And that's my issue with him. And it's like, dude, now you're crying over Burning Man. But I do understand he didn't do team sports. He was always out there on his own. I understand where he's coming from, why his community. But as you said, Kojo, the experts didn't even ask him, what is community? What is his definition? They didn't even ask that. So we're not even on the same book, page, chapter, or verse.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, hey, you're right. Maybe 7 days is a bit of a heavy one. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I think he did himself a disservice by not saying he actually found this to be a very important aspect of his life, right? Like it's a huge thing for him. I think that he did himself a disservice because it set him up for a fail. But, so not even saying but, so I agree that aspect. So maybe the better compromise, yes, could have been a local festival, could be a 1-day camp festival rather than a 7-day one, right? In that essence, like I said, but I think there can be a better compromise, right? Either person going to come up with this better compromise, in this instance. I think again, we're almost kind of using the events of like doing the jungle and doing that kind of things and forgetting that like she already asked for someone to push her out those boundaries, so we can't hold that against him. You asked for that. You know what I'm saying? True, that's not a thing that he just suddenly threw it on you and you're just throwing yourself into it. You wanted to do more of those things. So you wanted somebody who could push you in those particular areas. You know what I'm saying to you? So I'm just saying that I can understand where he's coming from in terms of wanting someone to join you in those things. Like obviously when I do those things myself, I don't expect people to come along with me, but then that's my own expectation because I have a lower expectation of people doing things that I like. That's just the honest truth. It's a sad truth, but that's the honest truth. I have a very low expectation of people actually wanting to join the things that I actually personally like. I'm learning to change that now though, because I think that's also not doing it, does people a disservice as well, right? Because if, for instance, if let's say, for instance, I like Amapiano and you don't necessarily like Amapiano, okay, I can go on my own. I've done that many times. I don't need you to go with me to go with me. But, you know, it'd be nice if I asked you to go, like, hey, I'd want you to be there. Do you know what I mean? It'd be nice if you can go along. Because, again, I'm asking you to participate with me in a situation. And I can compromise in that aspect. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Now, when I can't compromise, I'm going to tell you this now. I'm going by myself. Because I know I want to go to the very end, and I'm not going to start end early, right? So when I'm in that space, I know I might have to go by my own. If I know that I can compromise and say, okay, you know what, I can do 2-3 hours max, or I can say, you know what, we can even go late, and I'll be okay with this situation. Then cool, isn't it? That's where I would say, like, all right, look, I want you to come along. I know that you don't do this necessarily, this situation. I can do 2-3 hours, we'll be out. So I'm saying that I don't expect people to do everything that I like to do. You know what I'm saying to you? It's like, and that's why I said earlier on, it's like when ladies want to go shopping, most of us Negroes do not want to go with you.
And don't come with me. Don't come with me.
I'm not saying
don't even go shopping. Who wants to go shopping? Who has time for that?
Yeah, please.
Buy your stuff online, people. Ain't nobody got time for in-person shopping.
Okay, well, back in the day, because clearly we don't do that anymore. We're online. You know what I'm saying to you? All right. But sometimes like you do stuff and it's like we don't necessarily want to do it, bro. But you'll do it because you've been asked and you care about your person, that you're willing to be also join them in something that may not necessarily be your liking in that particular aspect. And people say, obviously, if you don't want to go shopping, don't go. But this is why I'm saying about there are compromises that we make with people. There are some things that we don't actually like. It's just it's part of life. There are things you don't like, and there are things that you don't want to necessarily do. And I'm not saying that everything you have to go to. I'm saying to you, pick your battles wisely. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So if he's saying this is a massive thing to him, you're right. Maybe 7 days might be a massive thing because it's cut off. You can't quit. Apparently, you can't quit or whatever. I mean, they say allegedly you can't quit. Nigga, I'm gonna quit if I'm gonna quit. But I hear what you're saying. You can't necessarily quit, right? So then this is a different type of environment. So okay, cool. Compromise could be, let's go to, you know what, I can't do a 7-day festival, but you know what, let's do a festival, like you said, let's do a festival, a music festival that's come up this year or something like that. And I think that is a sensible take. I don't think that is too far-fetched. I would work with that as well. I would agree with those solutions that the ladies gave as well in regards to that in that aspect. Someone said Josh should go with his new community, his dad and father-in-law and other guys on the show. I mean, you can do as well. So in that aspect, any other issues with Josh and Jalen?
I just want to add though, I will say part of it that I was thinking when I was listening to Jalen talk, and I think when you look at the history of Burning Man and what you actually do there, I remember her saying, you know, I feel uncomfortable. I would feel uncomfortable going. And it made me think to myself, I don't know what Jalen's religious background is, but I do know that a lot of people do see Burning Man as quite cultish. So there's a good chance that maybe in her mind, she's actually like, oh, I genuinely do not want to go to something like Burning Man because whatever is happening over there is very weird and it's very like, So that's that other aspect of that too, of like, it might not just be, oh, I don't want to be in the desert for 10 days, no like proper shower. It's basically like Glastonbury, but like dry desert. And or it's like it could be another part of like, oh, I've heard some of the things that have happened at Burning Man and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. And the fact that it's so important to you, now I'm actually looking at you a little bit differently because this is the thing. Like, because I remember when he first mentioned it, she was a bit like, I think she got the ick a little bit. And the fact that he was like, well, I won't push it on you, that helped her. But now that he's pushing it, I can see in her eyes she's starting to look at him differently, and it might be also because of how she views Burning Man. Because I bet you any money, if he said let's go to Coachella, she probably wouldn't have the same reaction. So
the facilities are different, Precious. The facilities are different.
I mean, did you see last year's Coachella, the horror stories from last year's Coachella? I don't know if it's that different.
No, I'm saying she could at least pay for a yurt and better facilities. You could at least pay for that.
True.
That is not the case for Burning Man. You pitch a tent or you pitch your RV. It's some in it. It's self-sufficiency. And I understand why some people want to do it. And I understand what you say. Some people say it's paganistic. Some people go that far. So my thing is, Mr. L said don't like seafood, and he don't like trying what he considers odd restaurants. Do I force him to go? No. No. Hey, honey, I'm going out with so and so and having seafood. Okay, have a good time. Bye. I mean, you have to have your own things. It's great if your partner wants to share it, but again, as Kojo said, pick your battles. Pick what you're going to share together and pick what you can do with your friends. Maybe he can go with oh God, Derek and his wig bros.
Yeah, I was
Go
gonna
with
say because
them.
Derek was talking to, and do you know what? It's a perfect example of how having boundaries shuts things down. Because remember when Derek mentioned Burning Man to Megan, Megan shut that down quickly, and Derek never mentioned it again. Derek never mentioned it again. Megan said, boom, and it was done. Jalen, take notes.
Wait, is Derek gonna go by himself?
No, he has his
No,
wig
'cause
bros. Remember, his bros,
yeah,
they
yeah.
go to concerts together and they had the wigs on. They put the weird wigs on at his before he went down the aisle.
Mm.
Mm.
They call
And
Oh
he
themselves
yeah,
was
wig
that's
like,
right. Yeah,
bros.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
he was like to Megan, I would like for you to come. Megan was like, son, no, no way, Playboy, and she shut that down.
And she wanted him to go to the country music festival. And he's like, that ain't my thing.
I mean,
And that was it.
she wasn't happy about the fact he wasn't gonna go.
But he didn't go,
Not yet.
and there was
It's
no
not
further
yet.
conversation.
He ain't going. He gonna stay home with the baby.
Not yet. And then she told him that
There
he
was
can't play the music inside the house. When she leaves, he can play the music. So Josh and her got same issues. They kind of control it when it comes to this thing. But
no,
yeah,
100%.
no, definitely here on that.
I can't lie though. It depends on what kind of music he's playing. I can't lie, because
I don't like EDM personally, you know what I mean? But again, like I said, I also understand everyone's got to do, I guess, a little bit of compromise, you know what I mean? So but yeah, no, I definitely hear you. But I will give some brownie points to both Josh and Jalen, because they actually did come to eventually that end conclusion, right? Which was they had to develop something that would cause him to have also his freedom outside of the Burning Man. They did actually come to that conclusion. So I do want to give them that credence as well. Like that applause as well in that space, because they did come to that end of note where they spoke about it. They realized we do need to get to a place where let's try and find something that we can do together, because clearly he wants to be inclusive. He wants to do stuff with her as well, right? But let's find something else that will help have that same sentiment and that same feeling. But it may not be Burning Man. So I do have to give them the credit. They did have that conversation and get to that place as well. Yeah, I think that's good as well. Okay, let's talk obviously another couple. We'll talk obviously, since we're talking about them, we can talk about Chad and Belinda, because they also on this episodes were quite cool. Yeah, I would love to be able to have some thoughts on Chad and Belinda. What your thoughts are on this situation? How do we see it?
I don't like it. I know you say, oh, they're so nice. They're so good. They're having a good time. No. We see the pendulum swing. We're doing everything Belinda want to do. Now, is Chad upset with it? No, he doesn't seem upset with it. But hey, it has swung, the pendulum swung the other side. Now we go into he's not a brewery person. He's not a beer person. He's a whiskey person. We went to the beer tasting. We go to where she wants to go. We do what Belinda wants to do. We go in to get our pedicures. I'm sure he's used to that because he's a girl dad. I'm sure he's used to that. But Chad is there and is like, okay, yeah, they're cooler than the others, but I see like we're constantly doing what Belinda wants to do, and I'm wondering if he's overcompensating to be liked. Is he overcompensating because she really didn't seem like she liked the fishing or whatever? But the pendulum is swinging the other way for me, and I'm like, where's the balance? But yeah, you could say they're doing all right. They're doing well. They're talking. At least they're talking and maybe listening to each other.
Yeah, I don't. I never ever thought that in this season they would actually get me to feel bad for Chad, but I'm here for it. I'm here. I thought that Chad was going to be the problem, and it's not Chad. It's Belinda is the problem here. Um, Clearly Chad likes her more than she likes him. I think I think though Chad is somebody who is laid back onto the point that he snaps. And I think that's what's gonna happen with them too. I think he's letting it slide, letting it slide, letting it slide, and it's gonna get to a point that she's gonna do something and then it's gonna snap. And that's probably what's happened in his past relationships as well, as to why he's gone through a whole other three marriages. Um, but the really, really identifying part that I noticed was when they were all at the table at the retreat, just after they'd grilled Will, and or before that, I'm not sure, but and they were all going around saying what they liked about their partner. And Chad, who, I can imagine he's not the most poetic man, came out with some really sweet, very nice, loving things to say. Actually, very profound things to say, more profound than any of the men on that table. And I don't know if it was the editing, but Belinda said nothing about what she liked about him. And in the entire time that these two have been together, Belinda hasn't said nary a poetic word about this man, not even close. And I'm at that point where I'm a bit confused as to what Belinda sees as romantic, because this man came home with a bouquet of roses, and you ask him why the roses, what's the occasion? Belinda, are you okay? Blink twice if you are okay, because now I am confused about you and I don't know what's going on with you. Because what is wrong with you? Your husband comes home with a bouquet of roses just because, and you ask him why. What is going on? So it's just she does not like that man.
Precious. The amazing thing is that he remembered the bread you sent him to the store for.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said in the beginning, I genuinely did not think I would come to like Chad. I like Chad. He is a good time. This poor man is doing his best in this relationship, and Belinda is doing absolute now. To the point that she's sitting there, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to change my name." Then she's looking at how long it's gonna take, all the things she's got to do to change her name, and she's second guessing. This poor man goes, "Yeah, well, I'm worth it, aren't I?" And she's silent. I need the experts to take that man and go and put him in a safe house away from Belinda right now today, because he is gonna go crazy in that relationship. And that woman's gonna kill him. I need someone to save free Chad, free him.
Well, at least the dog stopped barking at him, Precious.
Honestly, like even the fact that your dog is barking at this man, not once did Belinda do anything about it. Are you crazy? Like, no, are we really deep in it? Belinda's wild, you know.
It took at least 30 days, Precious. It took about 30 days for the dog to stop barking at him because we're at the 36th day.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you're letting the dog in the bedroom, and then she's complaining to him that, oh yeah, you leave the TV on loud. He's like, my girl, you've got the phone on loudspeaker when you're in bed. I was like, Belinda, you do not like this man. Belinda does not like that man, and she will find anything to have a problem with. Free Chad. That's all I got to say. Free him.
Hence divorce. Is that why he's 3 times divorced? He's free Chad. Okay, I'm done.
No, I hear you lot still. Can't even lie to you. I hear you. I mean, I haven't seen all that, but if you say you've seen that, then I have to trust that because I don't know. I haven't really seen it, but because of next week's previews, I ain't saying nothing too tough. You get me?
No, that was all in the last 3 episodes, Kojo.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that behavior, but again, maybe I didn't pay as close attention to them as I did the other couples, and maybe that's why. I think that's probably why I didn't see it that way. But hey, I think in essence, there's some things that they both need to be able to be more, maybe be a bit more honest if they're gonna be. But right now, I see him as doing well. I mean, I'm seeing him come out of his shell. I'm seeing him open himself up. He's saying he's able to trust her more, and stuff. And yeah, right. Maybe I haven't seen as much of her verbal actually as well. I mean, she ended up saying "I love you" back, as well. So I was like, okay. She said "I love you" back, and maybe there's
That
some
one
growth.
felt forced.
Hmm?
That one felt forced.
Yeah, let's be
Like
honest.
pulling teeth. That came out like,
It
How
was a
about her
drinking.
thought that the adult toy basket was a phase that she didn't have to repeat?
thank you for reminding me.
I
Thank you
didn't.
for reminding me.
I didn't. Again, I didn't associate that with being about Chad, but I can. I can see how you can say that. I wouldn't even argue that down. Actually, saying that, but go for it. Yeah, Precious.
No, my thing is, okay, you don't have to try everything in that box, but not even the blindfold, my girl. Not even the blind. Like, that's how you know she does not like this man because not even one thing in that box did she say, hey, we can try this. She didn't even ask him, hey, what do you like? What if he likes them things there? You didn't even bother. She just vetoed it straight. I was like, nah, this woman does not like this man. You didn't even think, okay, a bit, let me do a handcuff, let me do a small blindfold, nothing. No, Belinda is wild. What do you mean you went through a phase? What does that
Yeah. Yeah. He's trying to get you. He's trying to de-escalate your thoughts on the clamps. He's trying to put it in his ears, and she is not having it. Don't come. Put that box away. We're not doing this.
mean?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I know you're saying they're not problematic, but Belinda's keeping him at Heisman stiff arm. Don't.
exactly.
That was a phase, and
Exactly.
I'm not going to repeat it. At least not with you.
And my thing is that you're saying that was the phase. What? That was the phase in your marriage. You're wild for that. You're wild for saying that. You didn't even have to use the nipple clamp. You could have just the blindfold. There could have been like essential oils for a massage. It didn't have to be crazy. But for you to say, "Oh, I've done that phase in my life," I'm like, what are we talking about,
He is
Belinda? What are we
begging to
talking about?
use something out that box. He is
Yeah.
begging.
And she didn't even bother to ask him. She didn't say, and does any of this stuff interest you? Nothing. She just said, hey, I ain't doing that. Talk to your mama. I ain't doing that. That's wild. No, she does not like that man. She does not like that man.
I just thought she was uncomfortable with sexual stuff, but I can also see that perspective too. I'm not gonna deny your perspective. It could also be that as well. I just thought that she was, because she's willing to change her name, and go through the tedious process of doing it. So,
Is
but I
she?
can also see. I mean, before she's out, well, she looked like she was going through it. I mean,
She did not look like she was trying to do that at all.
She looked like she was hoping that, you know what, it's too much to do. Why don't you wait? Don't do it.
Yes. She wasn't trying to do that at all. And then when he was like,
oh
oh, I'm
man.
worth it, she was quiet as him. That woman is diabolical.
I thought she was trying to be honest about it. She wanted to change her name and stuff.
My thing is though, but my thing is that even if you're uncomfortable, that's the point at which you should at least try and figure out what he is comfortable with and see if there's a middle ground, not just shut it down. If you were interested in being like as intimate with your partner as possible, you would ask. You'd be like, okay, well, personally, I don't like the nipple clamps, but like, is that something that you like? What do you like? Like, do you like this? You would ask questions. You'd be curious. She doesn't have any interest in him. She's not curious about him because she doesn't like him.
And
Like
even
when
if
you're not
she,
curious,
right, even if she was curious and she didn't want this on television, you could just say, hey, honey, let's save that box for later.
yeah. But
I
like, oh,
have
we can
nothing to
revisit
say.
it later.
Yeah, yeah.
There was nothing. She was like, it's a phase. Like she always made it like childish. And I'm like, you're making it sound like it's childish. That's wild business. But that's not. It's just a
True.
very normal
Point.
part of a healthy relationship. So I don't know. For me, it just felt very much like she's a bit of like a pillow princess, passenger princess vibe, and it's. I don't know if it's gonna work for Chad. I think Chad's gonna be looking at her real quick and like, you know what? Ain't about this life no more. Can't lie. I mean, she seems nice. She does. She seems nice. But I also feel like that's how she's getting away with it a little bit. I think that's how she's getting away with her behavior because she's so like giggly and smiley and sweet. You know, that's how she's getting away with some of this behavior. If this was Megan or any of them other people would be slating them.
Question, since we on them and we already did Jalen and Josh, Koja, I wanted to ask you, what did you think when Jalen and Josh showed up at the retreat first? And she said, if our room is better than the one Mom and Chad gets, we'll give it up to them.
She
wants that marriage for her mum more than the mum wants that marriage.
Absolutely. And actually, another comment that she made, which was even more wilder than that one else said, is at the dinner table where she said something like, she said, I wouldn't even care if my marriage didn't work out, but if your one worked out, I said, if you don't shut the frick up, it's like, I get what you're saying, but the way you're saying it sounds mad. You got what I'm saying to you? Yeah. It's like, we don't need to say them things there. So yeah, she has, and I did note that. I think for her, the problem with her is that she knows how to prioritize other people, but not necessarily herself. And so because of that, it looks selfless, but it's actually very selfish. I know people think that they're being selfless, selfish because they can't think about themselves and they don't realize they're impacting their own relationship by doing so. But yeah, no, she definitely is wanting her mum to have a great relationship, and she loves the fact that Chad speaks so well of her mum, not knowing that her mum may not like him, like you guys said, right? You know, so I think in that aspect. But I mean, another aspect is I do think that Belinda maybe is. She talks about romance. You know what? Belinda gives me. I'm all about the theory, but never about the practice. You know what I mean? Like I know what to say. I know what it is that needs to be said. I know what it should be. It should be expected, but actually doesn't know how to actually receive those things or even be able to give those things. And I think that she is somebody that is built on theory because she got married at 19. I mean, she got to and had kids at 19, sorry, even at that point. So I think a lot of things are theoretical rather than practical. So yeah, she wants flowers that make her feel good, but it sounds like maybe all of that is from the movies. Is that what you actually want? Maybe Belinda's not as close with her actual needs in that aspect, which is why I would say, listen, hey, I know the man cheated on her several times and did her dirty. But the question is, when you come out of those relationships, what did you learn about you? And if you're not able to really be in tune with what you've learned about you and what you want and what you need, sometimes you come out talking about, yeah, I've grown because time has passed. But time isn't the dictator of growth. Growth is dictated by the inputs that you put in to actually begin to transform. And so I think that she may be more theoretical than practical. And so some of the things that even when Chad is doing them, do I think that she's amazingly attracted to this man? I wouldn't say that. I think it's one of those ones where, ladies, she's growing. And you know how much I hate that.
I don't even think she's growing, my guy. I don't even think she's growing.
I think she's growing. It might be a slow pace, but she's growing.
She's growing away from the sun.
Well, in some ways she's growing. You know what I mean? But you're right. No, I definitely hear you on that one. But again, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no that you're wrong. I'm not gonna say that she doesn't fancy that. You two are cutting up over there because she might not like this man. Y'all are cutting up over there because she might not like this man. It's crazy work. It's crazy work for you two to be cutting up over there.
It's not that. It's that your belief that they are so good, they're going so well this week. It is awesome, and we're sitting here like, huh?
I must have missed some things. That you know what I mean. So maybe as I'm being cautious. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm being cautious. You know what I mean?
Hey,
so maybe I've missed something. Do you know what I mean?
That's okay. It's always good to have hope.
You two are terrible. Oh, you are terrible. All right, let's move on from Challenge and Belinda. I don't think there's anything more to say about them. We'll keep it short and sweet with them two there. Let's obviously then go to Pat and Rhonda. And Elsa definitely felt some way about that one.
I'm
What
mad.
one?
I'm mad.
Mm-hmm.
I am Pat. I can't focus on you talking to me about serious stuff when I'm driving. When I'm driving, trying to keep up with traffic, trying to follow the GPS to someplace I've never been, or even if I've been there, I'm trying to follow too many things. Just driving alone, I can't. I can't keep up. I can't listen to you. I can listen to the lyrics of the song that's playing while I'm driving. That's as much I can do. That's as much as I can do. But her then saying about talking about her stuff, talking about her uncle, and Pat is trying to connect, and then she's like, no, not your turn to talk. I have to talk. Hush up now. That's how she treated him. And then to talk to her dad, don't step on the, on the burial sites here. Say something to my dad. I don't know this man. I just got a cheat sheet on the way here. But I am happy that Pat was like, we gonna park? We gonna handle this now before we get back to this apartment. I ain't gonna wait till we get all the way back there. He said, woman, you scolded me and I don't like it. He was very nice and gentle. He was more gentle than I would have been. Okay. I may have gotten out the car and maybe left her there and let the crew bring her back and we could talk at the apartment. But, I can't focus on driving, you collecting the information you're telling me, retaining it, and then regurgitating when you quizzing me later. Rhonda, calm down. And the man is trying to really escape you right now. Because she's like, oh, we're going through the store. And then all of a sudden he walks away to the register. Yes, he's trying to escape the conversation. He's trying to go. Let's get a move on. Because the longer we stand here is the longer you're going to talk. So I'm like, she shut him down from talking since the honeymoon. And we've only heard Pat talk once since then. And I really enjoyed hearing how he got into aeronautical engineering. I really enjoyed seeing, the space crew landing had a trajectory on his life. Really enjoyed hearing him. But Rhonda just wants to hear herself. And maybe she just needs to sit in that house with no curtains and hear her voice bounce off the walls. That will be her happy place.
Yeah, no, I think from what I'm seeing between Wanda and Pat, number one, free Pat. Okay, we need to free that man. That's his number one off the top. Free him. Number two, Rhonda. Rhonda doesn't want a husband. Do you know what she wants? She wants a therapist. That's what she wants. Because anytime she goes on this monologue, because that's what it is, a monologue of her baggage, she's expecting him to come back with um, emotional curiosity and wanting to unpack it with her and wanting to navigate it with her and to discuss. And this man does not care. You're giving him like a whole book of information when he's driving down the motorway and trying to follow ways and trying to follow the GPS and not take the wrong turn, you know, and you're telling him all this information and you're expecting him to be able to have this conversation with you. And it's like, when you're on a road trip, that's not the time to start unpacking difficult situations in your life. Like if you wanted him to have a few words for your dad, you should have in the car said, hey, it would be nice if maybe you can, think about having a few words for my dad when you meet him, just because obviously I know that you won't ever really get to meet him, but it's just a symbolic thing for you to be able to have a bit of a introduce yourself to my dad in a way, because we never got that. He probably would have been like, okay, that gives him time to think about what he wants to say. But you've gone on this whole diatribe in the car when he's half there, half not. Like, and quite frankly, I'd rather you focus on the road than focus on what I'm saying. And then you're getting upset when he's not getting all the things, and then you're shutting down. So yeah, one, good job, Pat, for pulling over. He went skirt. He pulled over and he said, "Now hold on a minute, baby girl. You need to relax. You're doing too much." And you see the way that she just went, oop. She went, oop. That's the kind of stern boundary setting that Rhonda wants and wants to see. She wants to see that he can put her in her place gently and say, hey, what you do right now, we need to roll it back. Let's come here, reel it back a little bit because she's doing a lot. She's doing a lot. And her incessant irritation at him replying with his own things when she brings things up, like at the music festival. At that music festival, that woman was hanging out with everybody but Pat. She was hanging out with everybody but Pat. Came and sat down, was all airy fairy, like, oh, you having a good time? How would you know? You ain't even there with him. Poor Pat is there sitting with his little beer, like, I don't even want to be here. I want to be watching the Space Channel. I want to be watching Natural Discovery. I want to be watching NASA. I'm sitting here with this music. I don't even what's going on. And then you're telling me, this was a really hard time. Okay, maybe this is a toxic part of me, yeah. But we're at a music festival, and you start crying. My girl, what are we doing? Why? For why? Then you start telling me some stop story about how you changed. You crying and sobbing in the middle of this concert for everyone's watching you, just crying. What are we doing, Rhonda? What are we really doing here? So I just think, Rhonda, yeah, you don't want a husband, you want a therapist. I think you need to go and do some sessions where you can get all of this stuff out and not feel the need that Pat has to hold all of this stuff and unpack it with you and all of this. Like, no, because it's not that's not even his occupation. He doesn't even have that skill. He ain't here for that. He's just a man who loves space, okay? Leave this poor man alone. He's just trying to live his life and you're killing the vibe. So yeah, I don't know. Rhonda, she's a lot. She's intense. She's really intense.
Precious, you're giving her a lot of grace with that concert. That was a front porch playing. Somebody had a band on the front porch or back porch, and we just had a neighborhood vibe. That was not a
Yeah.
festival. That was not a concert. My thing.
Jaden should have taken just to that.
Right. That is exactly right. And then ask him exactly what Rhonda said. What does this say about me and festivals? What does it describe me?
I was like, Rhonda, why don't you tell him? If you really so bothered, you tell him. Like, what are we doing? She's setting him up for failure because she knows that he can't answer it or doesn't want to, or she's setting him up for failure. And it's like, it's not that deep. You're doing all of this conversational things, but it's all about you. And then when he wants to try and insert himself and relate to you, you get upset because what you really want him to do is say, hey, tell me more about that. Explain this to me. Yes, my darling, that's not what a husband does. That's what a therapist does. Go and get some sessions because what you're doing now, I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either. But there was one more thing about them I wanted to look at, but now I can't even remember it. But the whole driving, Rhonda, I know Kojo's listening. Rhonda is a cautionary tale. If we do not handle our parent issues in our younger days, it will keep trying us when we are 63 like her. She is still looking for her father's approval, and the man is no longer on this plane. I mean, girl, what are we doing? You tell her, blink, is she okay? I will answer, she's not okay. She is not okay. She is interesting, butterfly. Blue butterfly, sorry. She is interesting. She's very eclectic, but when you scratch deeper than that, backyard concert surface, there's a whole bunch of mess under there. And I'm listening to her talk about eventually when, she said, hey, my dad chose my sister. Okay, my dad chose my sister. She was the one, doing mechanics with him. She was the one involved in sports. She was the one doing this. Again, that was at a time where the dad did what he wanted to do. I wonder if she talked to her sister, if the sister won't say, well, I just did those things to connect with dad because that's what he wanted to do. The sister might say that, because think about the time we're talking about here. Dads weren't open to having the tea parties and doing the makeup sessions with their daughters at that time. She is 63. She was, born at a time where dad was going out there making money and handling business. That's it. So my thing with her is, yes, she said, oh, yeah, I'm still waiting to be chosen and your rejection, all that. So Pat is catching strays that her dad is not here to catch. And unfortunately, that is a no-win situation.
Yeah, that's a cautionary tale indeed. But I do think with Rhonda, I just need her just to slow it down a little bit. I think a lot of processing is happening, and she is what some men are when they we talk about early dating phases, right? That they are, like as Precious said, looking for a therapist, not necessarily a partner. And so actually they're looking for someone to kind of pull them out of the rut that they're in, and they've placed all the emphasis on the other partner. And so actually it's a good tell. It's actually a good viewing point for anybody actually watching this, just to make sure that you don't get too deep into wanting to explore past issues in a way that your partner becomes the therapist and not your partner, so they can't enjoy the moment anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like every moment is now turning into a teachable moment, or every moment is turning into a what about me moment, right? And when she explained obviously that she wasn't chosen, it now made me look at her like, you're actually a kid. I can't, like, the way you're behaving is like a kid. Like, now it makes sense why every conversation you're having, you're outwardly outbursting that you're not listening to me. It's like a kid does, like, you're not listening to me, dad. You're not listening to me. Like, but that's, now I can see it. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's painful. Actually, now I know that, I'm like, it's painful knowing that you're viewing life through that lens and that sensitivity. So every conversation that you're having with Pat is like, Pat's the dad now, and dad is not responding to your needs in this moment. And again, this goes to anybody watching this. Sometimes this is how you look, and you think that your partner is just doing you rough, and they're not really paying attention to you, but actually you're still a child in some of the areas of your emotional maturity, and it's coming out this way, And I think I do feel for Rhonda. I do remember, my formative years, about 24, 25, having some of that same energy, and not recognizing that I had that same energy as well, and put too much emphasis on the partner to kind of try and fulfill some of those needs of, like, I need someone to really listen to me. That's why I don't really open up as much, and not recognizing that actually connection isn't always this deep conversation where it's exploring some of those ideas, when really actually I just needed a therapist at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have looked at it that way. I would have looked at it as, you're just not connecting with me because I'm a deep person. And I think I am. I'm still a deep person, but there was so many conversations in there that actually, I think would have been beneficial with a therapist, and that would have allowed me to concise or contract my conversation in a way that would be more entertaining, or at least more engaging for the other person as well. So in that space as well. So yeah, definitely, but yeah, I think that's a major thing. And as El Cid will tell me to promote myself, I don't necessarily do that, but yes, this essentially is what we do in coaching. That's essentially what I do in coaching a lot of times, although we're rounding up the season. So if you ain't booked, you've got to the end of November because I'm shutting it down after that. You get me till April, so we take a little bit of a break to recuperate. But yes, this is essentially what we're doing in coaching. It is to look at the past and see how that affects your present. And Rondo is a great example of what's happened. It's not dealing with the past, and now it's affecting her. Any other thoughts on Pat Rondo as well? In that space? No. Okay. Let's go to another couple. Let's go to Megan and Derek, because people are pregnant. People are pregnant, and his life is about to go to. He thought his life was going to get better, but it looks like next week his life is about to go to doo-doo, because everything that has not been sorted out in terms of the power struggles that they have is about to become times 100. And he actually he's going to have far less power now, because now the only thing is going to be this: I'm pregnant. And you are going to always lose that battle as a man. You're going to look like an insensitive fool. You're going to look like a man, you're going to look like, you don't care about your wife if you say anything different or you disagree. I think this is going to be carnage. I personally think it's going to be carnage. I think it's going to have a lot more arguments that he probably doesn't see coming, because they were already having those arguments beforehand and it wasn't sorted out about understanding this pregnancy and from that perspective. So the fact that they found out that, I think he also might see a bit more different Megan in terms of clinginess. And I think it's going to really hit him because she's going to become a different type of clingy. It's going to be different, bro. And I think I started seeing it because I saw her body language shift a lot more when they talked about the pregnancy. Now she's hanging her head off his shoulder and now she's all up in his lap and kissing him. And I could see that it was more natural, but I can also see performance. And I was wondering, and I'll give it a bit more time, but I saw performance in the sense of sometimes people do this thing when they're afraid of abandonment. So they lean in even more with the behaviors to try and reel you in and keep you. But actually, that's not actually how they fully feel. And so I wonder if that could also be playing out with Megan. That doesn't mean that it is. I'm just saying I'm open to that aspect as well, and saying some of those behaviors that I saw, that change of her being more loving, more caring, might not necessarily be her changing her way as well. What's you guys' thoughts as well? Derek done shoot up the club, and well, you're gonna learn today. What's your thoughts on this Derek and Megan situation?
Yeah, I was just when I saw that I was like I knew it was kind of coming because I think in the first episode when they were previewing the whole season, they had the little bit of that pregnancy announcement clip, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have our first baby being made on the show. But yeah, Derek, my guy, what is you doing? What happened? And you know what it is because it's diabolical in a way as well, because if you remember when they had the whole argument about the eggs freezing and having kids, she was there going, we have a lot of sex and most of it's unprotected. And I was like, oh, this girl know what she doing. She know what she is doing. And I was just like, Derek, what are you doing? Like, you just like, you've locked yourself into the situation for life. For life. You signed up for a TV show and locked yourself into the situation for life. A mega TV show. This is why I always say, take sex off the table when you're on these shows, because you don't want to be stuck with somebody that you don't want to that you don't want to be with because you made the mistake that you could have avoided. Derek could have minded his own business and not gone on the show, and he wouldn't be in this position right now. But we're here now, and I'm just like, what? I don't even know what to say. All I know is if they do, now he's in a situation where he's now at this point where it has to be a yes on decision day because she's pregnant, and she's going, oh no no no, you think I froze my eggs for nothing? I can do this on my own, I have money. So you know, and when you look at, and to be fair to her, when you see her house, she's got money. So I think she's very prepared to be a single parent. Um, and part of me is like, is that why she came on the show? I don't know, but it's just, yeah, it's a very wild situation. Derek is very much like full force. I'm gonna start grinding so that I can take care of you and the baby. I'm like, my guy, you're still on this show. You still got a month to decision day, and this girl's saying, hey, still gonna pay, still gonna go through the process of the show. Process of the show. My girl, you are carrying this man's baby. Process of what show? How dare you? So yeah, it's a disaster. It's a whole disaster, and God bless them. God keep them, and God is good all the time. That's what I got to say.
And Precious, I don't know how much you know about the US, but Texas is one of those states that I would not be announcing that I am with child so very early. There's a legality there that if anything happens, the police can knock on your door. I would not be on this show saying anything about that until after decision day and maybe at a reunion or something. And it's nothing to joke about, with some of these states that have those heartbeat rules. So yes, the fact that they even said that they were, positives, unfortunately, I'm hoping it's a false positive so that, the light isn't shining on her, because if she isn't, if people don't see her around with a baby in hand, or him around, town, that is cause for, your legislature to get into your business. But apart from that, here's where he was done. Here's where he would be done for me. He knows she is with a child, okay? And when the revenge came around the corner, what did Derek do? Derek ran and left his wife, who is with child. He ran around the side of the house and let her take all them water balloons. That right there told me you are not going to protect this family. You're not even going to make sure. You're not even going to make sure that I'm protected. I got to take these balloons because I decided to sit here and you ran off. And then you was like, oh, I left her. And now you come slinking back and you're going to hold the door for me to get inside. Dude, you're done. You are done. You ran off. You left me. You left your child. I ain't got nothing else to say. I know that's what she probably wanted to tell him, but she cannot announce that she's with child. But I know he got an earful. You left me. You left me. He is done. But for me, it was like, what are we doing? He wants a child so much that he's willing, for all intents and purposes, she is a stranger. He's still learning who she is. He allowed himself to, as he said on the honeymoon, howl for her. He allowed himself to howl for her. And now we are expecting with someone, we don't even have the conversation that we've heard. Maybe they had. We don't have the conversation of how we expect to, raise a child together. What are our expectations of a family? Okay, this is the first one. What are we going to do with your eggs? Now that you are with child, are we going to utilize your eggs later on? Or are we? There's so many questions, I guess, not answered with us, but I don't believe her turn 180 unless she's being curated in a way by the show to, to be a certain way. But why is it? Here's my question. Why doesn't Megan speak up when her mother is speaking? She didn't speak at all around the family at the table at all. It was like she's at the kiddie table. It's like a child needs to know her place. Derek, your mama, and your daddy are talking about your body. They are talking about your body, and you have nothing to say. That was odd to me. She has all this gusto for Derek and nothing to say around them when it affects her body. Yeah. And she clearly can say that her mother is not the grandma type. Her mama buys them toys and sends them on their way. Her dad is the more nurturing one. So I'm like, who did you spend most of your time around, Megan? Who did you spend your time around, Megan? And again, Mona Lisa, yes, her freezing her eggs is a backup plan, but also your legislature is in your business. If she decides to have, let's say, the 3 kids that Derek wants, and then she's no longer going to keep those eggs frozen, disposal, I hate to say it this way, but disposal of those eggs, she's going to face a battle on her hands too. Again, everybody needs to read their state laws, rules about that, about IVF, and about, egg freezing, and also baby batter freezing. Okay, you need to know your rules. But again, he left her, and that's all I got to know about Derek. When push comes to shove, even with water balloons, he gonna run.
Well, she should have run us all. Okay, I don't know why you sit in there. You see the enemy coming, and you sit there. Oh, the reason why is because she wanted to say I'm pregnant, but she couldn't. She remembered that she couldn't say that out loud, and she was paralyzed and stuck there. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, jokes aside, I think that was a funny moment though to see that they came back for them. My thing was, and I think something I'm saying about Megan is my fear for her is that she needs to start working out that resentment that she has, because it always comes out as spiteful behavior. So her behavior always comes out as looking very spiteful. So even like, obviously after that, and someone even mentioned in the chat, actually after that, I remember when they were going back into the house, she almost put the door in his face. And again, it's all of those things are resentment and spitefulness. So the thing is, when you do that, you can do that enough times in the very beginning, but after a while, people get pissed off and tired of your nonsense. And I need her to like pick up on it quickly, because it's irritating. And not as irritating, it's also painful for the other person to be on the receiving end, that anything they do, the other person's going to keep on trying to, purposely get you back, almost, in a sense, right? Like nothing's ever left where it is. And we've seen that over the course of the last few episodes. Now on episode 10, and conversations that should have been a normal conversation turn into a blow up, into her saying something in terms of her maybe insulting or whatever. And so in that space, I just wanted to start working that out ASAP Rocky now. I've already said that I think some of her earlier on behaviors were close to that emotional abusive aspect. And so now I'm not gassed by you putting your head on his shoulder and talking about how safe he is all of a sudden now, blah, 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 and yaga, yaga, right? We watch behaviors to see how people move. So, yeah, it's, but at least, you know what, also at the same time, I am happy to see that she joined. You see, she joined in the pranks. You see, that's what it takes. You know what I mean? She joined in the pranks and, did the toilet roll, the cat situation. I love that. I think that was wonderful work. I think that was nice to be able to both grow in that area and that environment. It was nice to have them to, come together and do something as well. So, yeah, I love that as well. I love seeing that aspect of them as well. I mean, she shouldn't be getting annoyed about her hair getting wet. Baby girl, if you out here pranking people with toilet roll when they needed it at their most dire time, and you want to talk about a little bit of water in your head top, sis, I don't want you to be talking at all. And a dire need, someone reaches for that roll and recognizes it can't be pulled, and you're telling me that you think this is that you're gonna cry about a little bit of water, then yeah, sis.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but Belinda was fine with that role. Should have leave him or something, okay? And I'm like, what was she doing? What was she doing in that bathroom that she just desperately needed that role? Because
number 2, baby.
there's a number 1 and there's a number 2, and I'm just like, oh, and what if the role didn't flush? What if it's not flushable? Like, they're playing games, and going back to your point of being spiteful, she told Derek, take all the toilet roll out of the bathroom. Don't even leave one. That woman is evil. She said, yeah, take it out. Derek was like, are you sure? Yeah, take it out. Nah, Megan must be stopped. Megan must.
I much prefer the animal noises. I much prefer the cat noises. That the toilet paper was
diabolical.
Because guess what? 9 out of 10 times it's going to be a woman needing that toilet paper rather than the man.
I hear it. It was diabolical.
You know what it taught me? It taught me that Belinda is not problem solving.
Mm,
Because Jalen saw it and like it ain't working. Let me go and find another roll in the cabinet.
mm-hmm.
Belinda said, "This is the roll that's on here. I'm using exactly that."
It's all I got.
To be fair though, in her defense, she might have already been like, she's already gone toilet. So now she's like, how am I gonna get up and shuffle over to another toilet to go get toilet roll?
That's what you
Not a
start
whole other
doing.
toilet. It's in the cabinet under the sink.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. She Megan took out all the toilet paper.
No, when Jalen found it in the cabinet under the sink, that's what she told her mother.
Yeah, but I think that was in her toilet. I don't think that was in her mum's toilet. I think
Okay.
I think her mum mentioned that in her toilet there wasn't anything.
I'm
So
sure if
she
she
only had
called Chad will go get her another roll of toilet
That's
paper.
what I'm saying. Chad! Chad!
No, she should have had her phone. Have your phone. That's why you should go to the. That's why you go to the bathroom. You may have to take your phone with you because if anything ever happens, you're stuck in there. It's game over for you.
And every time Chad come by, meow.
It's better than the barking he's getting at home. So
Oh, it's crazy work.
That's the only cat probably meowing for him. I'll leave that alone.
Oh, damn.
you ain't tell a lie. You ain't tell a lie.
I hear it. I hear
You
it.
ain't tell a lie.
Well, I mean, he's obviously getting something because he's got her pregnant. So, you know.
No, we're talking about
I was
Chad and
talking
Belinda.
about Chad.
Oh, Chad. Sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. Chad is not the one getting it. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. You're right. That's wrong.
I think-
We knew Derek done thawed out her eggs. You know,
Well,
we know-
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of their physical intimacy was coming from when they were having arguments, and that was the way they would make up because she is all about him touching her. When they were in the kitchen after that big fight, and he was like, "Well, how would I be able to help you feel safe?" She was like this when he was touching, when he was holding. I was like, this girl just wants to be touched. It's like,
Of her. Yeah.
And that may be it. That may be her toxic trait that she wants to argue in order to have makeup intimacy.
yep. And that's how you get yourself. That's how you get yourself twisted up. Sorry to that man.
What's not clocking to you? What's not clocking to you? Okay, cool. Let's talk about the last one. Will and Brittney. I know this one's a tough one, but I don't want to say tough one actually. I know it's a good one because I think there's different points of views and stuff like that as well in the midst of their situation. I really do see where Brittney's coming from. I feel for her because I feel like she's not getting much out of a stone in that space. I also feel like the experts are not helping because they're not really digging deeper with Will to get more out of him to really explain what's going on. I also do think that Brittney is a bulldozer a little bit with her emotions, and sometimes she doesn't just give it a little bit of room for other person to have their aspect. Just let it rest a little bit, you know. But I also understand she feels like she's being triggered in that moment. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on Will and Brittney because they had their tennis match, which became uncomfortable. It was a real tennis match, and it was uncomfortable. In front of Megan and Derek. And if Megan and Derek feel uncomfortable when they argue the way they argue, there was something about that. What's your thoughts on Will and Brittney? How do we see them in the last 3 episodes? Remember, they also got to see the family as well. So, which the family revealed that she was chewing up her nails. Mum done embarrassed her in front of the man that she was chewing up her nails on both her fingers and her feet. I said, Mommy, was that necessary to reveal that information? Probably not. You know what I mean? I do need Brittney to get rid of those long tacky nails. I hate nails that long. For me, they're tacky. But that's my personal preference. What's your guys' thoughts on Will and Brittney? Yes, Elsa, I think they're tacky.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree. Those long nails. I'm like, okay, girl, okay. But I chalk it up to that. It's just an American thing. It's an American thing. It is Elton.
They used to do it in Britain. They used to do this in
Because
Britain too, with the long ass claws that you girls started doing. The
no,
long
but
ass
it
claws.
wasn't that long. It wasn't as long as
It was that
It
long.
wasn't
Y'all were
as
doing some
long.
long ass claws, and it was unnecessary.
What in London, in the UK?
In
Oh, you see, God has you. You mute yourself.
no,
You
that was
see,
me. But it was the long
speaking
ass one
lies.
they were doing in the UK. I used to hate it. It was like, why are you? Yeah, we like them claws. But remember, you don't do it for man. You do it for yourselves. But you couldn't even type, so I don't know what you were doing it for. It was just, it weren't even conventional. But go on.
I will say though, they were copying American Girls. Just putting it there. Anyways, moving on. They were. Anyways, moving on. Number two. Can we just give a round of applause for Mark Henry, WWE legend, because my childhood was made seeing Mark Henry. I was like, yes, thank you. So I really appreciate that. I will say, yes, I agree. I think Brittany has a lot of reason for her to be anxious and to feel distant from Will, because I feel Will is just very shut down and he doesn't give much. And when he does give certain things, it's caveated and kind of like what Chad said, it's qualified. Like he intellectualizes everything to the point that it becomes hard to really engage with him and have conversations because it almost feels like the conversations are like a 16-year-old trying to learn how to drive stick shift. Every single time you think you've got a bit of momentum, it stalls because he goes on this like diatribe of intellect. Like you ask him, "Oh well, are you in love with Brittany?" He goes, "Well, what kind of love do you mean? There's eros love. I'm like, William, what is wrong with you? Like, just answer it. It's a yes or no question. Like you don't have to be doing all of this to avoid having to answer the question. And I think Brittany picks up on some of that of he talks around things because he doesn't directly want to answer it. And then when he's irritated, that's when you get the direct answers from him. And I think that's what the push and pull is happening from Brittany is that she keeps poking and prodding because I think subconsciously she understands that she gets direct answers from Will when he's irritated. Um, but you know, I think Brittany also needs to learn how to be a bit more secure within herself and to not feel so anxious when she feels she's not getting a lot back from him because that's what's also causing him to retreat. But I think outside of even him retreating, I think just for her own ability to function healthily, well, healthy in relationships, is to be able to supply herself with reassurance because she's yearning for this reassurance from Will. She's yearning for him to say certain things, and because she's not getting it, she's feeling really emotional about it. And I understand that, but I also feel like to be a secure partner, there's an element of being able to give yourself reassurance to help you feel safer so that you can then enter back into the arena with your partner and say, hey, I'm noticing that you're, you know, but it's difficult because Will definitely he doesn't give a lot. I do feel like Brittany does annoy him and irritate him, and I can see why because if the man says, hey, there's nothing going on, just let it be. But I think she's so anxious that he's not telling her the truth because he's so guarded. That's why she keeps going. She keeps going. It's like, no, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. Um, and I think it was a bit of a disservice when the expert said that Brittany was guarded because so is Will. They're both guarded. That's what's the problem. Both of them are guarded, and I think that's what's also causing the issue. It's not just Brittany. Um, so yeah, it's a very I think they just trigger each other. That's what it is. They trigger each other. I think Will is definitely. I think he feels like he's trying. I think he genuinely believes he's trying, and I think on some levels he is trying. Um, but I think his nonchalance is triggering for Brittany. She doesn't she reads nonchalance as he doesn't like me that much. He doesn't care, you know, that kind of if he would, he would. If he could, he would type mentality. Um, And on some level, I do agree with her. I don't think that Will likes her that much. And I know he says he adores her and all that stuff, but a lot of that is very friend zone language. That's very friend zone language. It's not, so, um, yeah, I don't know. I can see her. I can see why she would feel like Will doesn't like her, but I also feel that she needs to check in with herself a little bit. She needs to fortify herself a little bit because it's becoming, yeah, you can feel the anxiousness of her. But yeah, I think the reality is they just both trigger each other, and they both gonna need a lot of individual therapy to be able to make this work functionally. Because anytime I watch them, it's like walking. I feel the tension from the screen when I'm watching them in scenes. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. So like, I don't know what he's gonna say that will set her off. I don't know what she's gonna say that's gonna change the trajectory of the conversation. Now it's gonna get awkward. Like, even watching them feels like I mean myself at home as what is walking on eggshells. So I can only imagine how it must feel when they talk to each other. So yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine this going very far.
I hear you, Precious. Most of it I agree with, but if I was Will, what more can I give her? What more can I give her? Brittney gives me stage 5 clinger. That's why everybody's running for the hills after 3 months. If you give her too much, her head will be in the clouds and she's going to float off. And it's a fairy tale. And, we may not get to the foundation of building things. And I see where Will is he shouldn't be, but he's testing her mentally. He's testing her, meaning not testing her to really dig at her. He's testing her to say, is she as smart as she presents to be? And he's observing her under a microscope. That he is. Okay. But here's the thing. I agree. I don't think he does want to continue with this marriage. I'm not going to say he doesn't like her. Okay. He may like some parts of her. He may like, her cooking. He may like just hanging out with her. If, the thing is, whether he's performative or not, he's performing just enough not to get eviscerated on the internet if he's performative. Okay. So the thing is that Brittney hasn't shown me where I would be, Will and share more with her. I don't know if she will be able to carry that and carry it safely. And I think what happened is, yes, I think he was distancing himself from the altar when she kind of cut him off when he was talking. But okay, we got over that. But when you have a visceral reaction after intimacy, think of it another way. If the man had a visceral reaction after intimacy with the woman, how would she feel? How would she feel? She'll feel unwanted, unsatisfied, and we don't want to go there ever again because I don't want to feel this type of rejection. So again, he's looking at her and now processing differently because the way he reacted on the honeymoon told me a lot about Will. That deeply hurt him. Not to say he doesn't have access to her, but her reaction to it and rejecting him and the act. I was like, okay. Even the simple thing of when Pat sent that photo of how they can join the Mile High Club. And Brittney was like, oh no, we ain't trying that. Just look at how Will looks at her. She wanted someone to give her more, excitement, adventure between the sheets or on top of the sheets because she don't use the sheets. But here you are with this man and you're not allowing the opportunity to do that. Or the opportunity presented itself and your reaction to it tells him you need to distant himself. Now, is Will handling this well? No, he's not. He's not even talking to her offline. But again, I would caution Will on being this distant and this mum about what he's saying, because we saw that he was very open and approachable. So which one is the performance? Is the one with Brittney the performance, or the one with Brittney and her family, the performance? Because he was very approachable with the family. He was hanging with the cousins. Oh, let me get them chicken wings. I heard about these wings. Mama, she was biting down them nails. He can speak. He can be sociable with people he'd met one time before, if at all, because most of the people weren't at the wedding. So which one to me is the Will he's really presenting? I think he's cool with the family, and I don't think he's cool with Brittney. But yes, she freaked out and meltdown at the honeymoon. Yes, that singed his eyebrows, and Will backed up. He gonna do just enough not to get fined. He gonna do just enough to remain here that she's not gonna say divorce right now. Okay? But he is proceeding with caution. He is going like, we're gonna take this off the table. We're not gonna do this. But again, I find it really wild that we don't go rah at Brittney for having a wild out that she don't have access to Will intimately. We ain't roasting her, because if Will crashed out and said, how dare you stop intimacy with me? If Will had done that, he would have been done. He would have been done in every piece of social media out here. But we're not roasting Brittney because it's Brittney. We're not roasting Brittney with the intensity that we would a man, because it's Brittney and she's cutesy. And yes, she is trying our emotions at times, but we're not roasting her that deep like we would roast a man, like we roast Edmund. Okay? Like we roast Edmund for crying, I'm just too nice, to KB on Love is Blind Denver. But I'm gonna keep it cute in that regard, because this girl is having an emotional response to him. And here's my thing asking Brittney. At what point does she as a woman need to stop giving? And we all need to answer that. At what point do you stop giving? You're giving, and you're getting nothing back. When is your point? When is your point to say, I will stop trying? I'm not going to put myself through this emotional turmoil. This man will have to make the effort now. Because I'm looking at Brittney and I'm like, girl, stop. You have a decision day. And I'm sorry, y'all, this marriage ain't permanent. You have a decision day that you can end things. This ain't like you are married truly for life. You have 4 more weeks and you can part ways with this man. At what point do you stop? So that tells me Brittney also probably back in the day would stay in a relationship longer than she should. I don't think she has self-preservation in her. I don't think she has self-preservation to say, hey, I need to stop because this man ain't no good for me. I am an emotional roller coaster around him, and I need to just pipe down. As we said with Rhonda looking for acceptance, Brittney's looking for acceptance from Will. She's looking for him to accept her home. She's looking for him to accept all of that. Now, I'm not saying he's not manipulating her, but guess what? We have to allow people to manipulate us, don't we? We have to allow them in. And if Brittney stop giving that, he won't be able to manipulate her. She will be standing in her truth, in herself, in her boundaries, and Will won't be able to move that needle at all. But she's got the barn door open, and Will is playing a fiddle. And when she closed that barn door and no longer give him access, I'm not saying access intimately. I'm saying no more access to change her emotions and put her into, I'm not saying put her, but cause her to go into emotional turmoil. She'll be fine if she stopped that trajectory. But it seems like Will is doing a whole bunch of stuff. Will is being Will. Will is being Will. Everybody told us that is Will. Everybody. Chad, Derek, everybody said that is who Will is. Brittney's living with this man, and she has not adjusted and said, oh, that is how Will is. That is not what I want for my life. She has a choice. And I'm tired of seeing Brittney like she has to allow this in her life. She has a choice. Just like Will has a choice to open up to her or not. Now, the other thing is Will could be, I don't talk too much. Will, you need to speak to her. Even if it's just to speak to her to lower her expectations for decision day, you need to speak to her and say, hey, Brittney, this ain't going to work out, but you know what? We can have a good old time. We can have some fun. We could be here. Decision day will be a no, but you are seeing this woman cry at the apartment in front of the experts. She is crying with you. Now she is crying at the retreat. At some point, yes, she may be taking herself through a tailspin, but at some point, Will, you got to remove yourself from being the person circling the hurricane that she's becoming. At some point, you got to be gentle with her and say, hey, this ain't gonna work out for me. Like he said, managing your emotions this morning, I was having a rough time. Well, Will, you got to tell her. Every time she's having an emotional, you don't know what to do. And I think when he doesn't know her emotions, it makes him unstable. Y'all may think he's stoic and all that. Will is very unstable. He is watching her, paying attention to her moods, and then deciding how he's going to move. She's also moving his needle. He may seem stoic, but Will keeps moving. I keep looking at him like jerk left and right, and I'm like, Will is not as solid as he makes himself seem on camera. So I'm saying, Will, tell her. And if her emotional ups and downs is not it for you, then stop. You two need to get off the merry-go-round. Or you have to have the conversation. This merry-go-round ain't going nowhere. Let's hop off when it's time, when it stops. But again, I think they're both, as you said, Precious, they're triggering each other. And it may look differently, but they're both acting out of fear. They're both acting out of fear.
Precious, you want to say something?
No, I mean, I agree. I think I agree with what Elsa said about Brittney. She is giving a lot, and she's, clearly anxiety is something that runs through her. She's very anxiously attached. Um, and I think I can only imagine how she must have felt a little bit like, I can imagine she must have felt a little bit of a sting seeing Will get along with her family so much, but feeling like it's pulling teeth with him alone. Um, I also agree that there's a level of acceptance that she had to come to of like, this is just who he is. So it's either going to work for me or it's not going to work for me. And I think, Brittney's approach is kind of almost like, if we talk about this enough, change will happen. Whereas I think Will is approaching it as in like almost like a radical acceptance of, I'm just going to let you be you, and then I'll decide later if I can do it or if I can't. And I think, his approach is making her anxious because she's thinking, well, I do, I could be doing something that is ruining my chance of having this work out. Instead of, being able to talk about it so I can save it. She's almost kind of in like trying to save mode. She's in save mode, and he's in like let it be mode. And, those two those modes are triggering each other. Because he's like, there's no point trying to save it, because then that means you're not being who you really are. And that means that if you start changing, and I like the new you, when decision day passes, the real you is going to come out, and I'm going to be in a situation where I could have left because I would have seen how you really are. So I think, that's what's happening for them. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed, but yeah, it's not looking promising.
But she doesn't push him either. She gets into her emotional state and she doesn't push him. Like I would have pushed him. Like the whole apartment thing, I have no problem with Will keeping his apartment, because guess what? We would have told her she's crazy if she sold her house and moved in with him. Keep your place. But you see, she sat there and she allowed, it's kind of like waves crashing over you. It's like, okay, he's like, yeah, I'll keep my apartment. I would have said, hey, would you consider the option of renting out that apartment so it could be a source of income for our family? And then watch his reaction. She doesn't push back or ask further questions. And that's my issue. Would you sublet the apartment? What are your plans for that? Would you prefer we change the house, because Will knows he cannot even talk to her about let's get rid of both places and buy one together. She won't go for that. She doesn't sound like she'll go for that. So she doesn't push back. Okay, what do you mean? She takes in, he's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen 30 days from now. And she takes it in and she emotionalizes it and it comes out. And I'm like, young lady, there are questions to be asked. He's not finishing his statement. You don't like how he finishes what he says. Ask more questions. Sometimes it's not what he says, it is how he's going to say it that matters. But I would push. I say, oh, you want to keep the apartment? So if I want to have a girls' night out on the weekend, can my girls and I stay at the apartment? Push back at least a little bit. She does not question at all. And I'm like, I'm wondering if it's a family dynamic, because there's a lot of ladies there. If you look at the family, there's a lot of aunts. There's very few uncles. Her dad was not there that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, Shar, you're saying she never pushes back because she's afraid she will push him away? Then maybe he's not for you.
Yeah, but I also think part of that is because of in the prior experiences when she has pushed, it's because she's been pushing about emotions. And obviously, I feel like Will just doesn't do emotions. He's not very good at being able to relay those emotions. He sort of uses intellectualism to prevent having to actually explain and delve in.
To mask
So
his emotions.
yeah, and so what I think has now happened is that now she's taken that and said, well, okay, if I try to start asking more questions, he's going to shut down on me. It's going to be a whole thing again. And I think that's part of why she doesn't ask questions. But I also feel like, actually, as you said, Elsa, if she did ask those kind of questions, I actually think Will would respond better to her, because I think that's almost what he's looking for. He's looking for somebody who's going to be as inquiring and curious as he is, just not about emotions. Like if it's about, oh, okay, well, how do we come to a compromise? Would you like to? I think he'd be able to engage in that, but it also requires her being able to not make judgments of what he's saying in the moment, but to allow him to explain what he's saying, be curious, and then after he's completely done, then you can bring in what your opinions are. But he seems like somebody where, like, if you start interjecting with what you think, he shuts down.
Yeah, I want to interject. I'll let him finish. I definitely let him finish, but I would certainly ask him, well, what are the future plans? How long do you expect to keep this? Or are you just going to keep the apartment till you get a different job that don't require you to travel? Is it just because of travel and proximity to downtown? I would totally ask that, and then say, oh, well, how much are you paying for rent? We could certainly put that money and put it into investments for our family, into our savings. I mean, there are different ways you could talk about it. And if Will is being curated the way he is, his vocabulary tells me when he's skittish. When Will's vocabulary changes, it tells me, oh, he don't like this. He may look a certain way, but when he does speak, his vocabulary tells everything. The reason why I kind of know Will, because my grandfather used to be like that. He was a man, had a few words, but when he spoke, it resonated. But when he was speaking and he used certain language and certain vocabulary words, I was like, oh, okay, this means something different. So that's the ear in which I'm listening to Will. Will's language, when he starts using his SAT words, he deep in a sunken place, in my opinion, on this edited show. And when he in that sunken place, he trying to keep above water. Ain't nothing Will said that he gonna stay married to her, so I ain't gonna say he a liar. He ain't never said. He never said he gonna stay married. He said today, decision day is yes. I don't know about tomorrow. He never said he gonna stay married.
Well, I will say I did actually find out some spoilers. I won't say it now, but yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, Kojo.
Well, I think my final thoughts on this couple with Will and Brittney is that I do feel like Will's lack of emotional response should be questioned by the experts and found and asked where it's coming from, so that we get a bit more of an understanding, so that Brittney gets more of an understanding, sorry, as well, right? So she can know how to deal with it. And also as well, every time they talk about will, and I'm like, at some point you're gonna have to help Brittney be able to regulate her emotions. If otherwise, it will be someone else and it'll be her, you know. So I do think there's that as well. I'm glad they called him out about some of the responses, because some of the responses are nonsense. I'm just like, do you love me or not? I mean, do you want me to love you with the love of God? Like, bro, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, at some point you're gonna have to take some accountability, because what do you mean? Like, you know, you out here, it feels like you're playing games when you do that, right? You're deflecting from actually answering the question. And maybe if you are being honest, maybe that is your very I don't want to say pragmatic, but sometimes you're maybe on the spectrum, because that, in a sense of, when I say spectrum, in a sense of the way that you're responding needs like direct questions to get direct answers. That could also be a case. I have to leave myself open to that possibility as well, right? And not just say necessarily 100% he's messing around or deflecting or doesn't like her or whatever, right? There are also different aspects that could be in that aspect as well. So I'm open to that, and that's why I'm saying that the experts need to do more work. Yeah, or do more work into asking some more of those deeper questions so we can understand where it's coming from, because some of his answers don't make sense. But yeah, no, I think there is hope. I don't want it for them personally at the moment. I don't want it for them at the moment. I don't want it for them. You know, but we'll see what happens obviously in the next 3 episodes, whether they can kick on and get better. But you know, I think it'd be nice for them to really talk out some of their really key issues and really start to kind of like begin to properly bond. I'm guessing obviously sex seems to be back on the table as well, so that's happening at the moment. We're still getting what we're getting from Will. Like, Will seems to not want to give any vulnerability at this moment towards her, and you know, at this point in time. So again, I think this is a great time for the experts to really kind of do their work and be like, hey, Will, what's going on with you? Why is it that you're struggling to? Because all now it's really been about Brittney and why you feel the way you feel, and Will, how come you're not responding to her? Respond to her like this, you know. And they ask him a question about what's going on, and really and truly, it becomes another test to prove how smart he is, rather than actually really trying to get him to understand what he is. Like, the way he's responding is as if, I can answer that question. Okay, so why don't you love? Oh, well, let me intellectualize this for you. The reason why I don't love her is because at the moment, you know, when I think about it, it's like this, it's like that, and he's intellectualizing everything. So we're not actually getting to the bottom of what the real issue could be with Will. And I think if we are going to look at it from that perspective, then it should be more exploration into Will as well as Brittney as well. But hey, hopefully we'll get that in the next few episodes. If not, I mean, I'm expecting too much sometimes on these shows, you know. But yeah. I think you know, it'll be interesting to kind of watch and see. But anyway, my time is up. So listen, folks, you know, we're gonna be out, but make sure you guys are liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing. Again, thank you to Precious and to El Cid. Any shows coming up for you, El Cid, as well?
I do a live watch on Fridays of Rated Love at 9 p.m. EST. My channel subscribers, they love to watch things live, so hey, we watch it live. Love is Blind Italy is coming up on the 1st of December. I'm covering All's Fair. People don't like it out there, but I'm covering it, and I found a niche of people who do enjoy that new lady lawyer show on Hulu. But I'm also covering Maths. We're busy. Yes, Rosho, we're busy over there, and I have member Mondays on Mondays where we have adult conversations in my membership.
As you should. Okay.
You definitely won't catch Belinda in those chats.
Yep, that's for sure. Belinda ain't coming over there. No way. All right, listen, audience, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. I know I'm trying out this new dual thing. They said we should try it out. I don't know how it's going to work. I think it's going to set us 2 lives rather than 1. So We'll see how that works. Hopefully they will blend it so it doesn't have to be that way. But I don't know what they said the reason why they're doing it. They want to do a trial with it. So of course I wrote myself in to try and see how it would look like. But personally I really don't care. I might go back to normal. I personally don't like it this way. But yeah. I hope you guys like the live tonight, and thank you for bearing me. I overslept today, so you know what it is. Yeah. I went out last night today. Well, I didn't go out, but I went to a networking night, and so when I got back in, I was late already. Yeah, don't have a bowl of Cheerios before you sit down. All right, listen, people, I appreciate you. Stay locked and loaded. We'll see you again very soon. And enjoy your night as well. We'll see you again next week for another informed conversation.
Little black book, you know what time it is.